So I can, I will, and I must. And I know some of you guys came here and you're a little tired. I know some of you guys came here and you're looking for some solutions. I know some of you guys are not patients in the office, and someone brought you and you're like, it's Saturday, it's my time, but you're on medications, or you're struggling, or you're tired, or there's an issue with finance, there's an issue with your relationship, there's an issue with your health, there's an issue with your prescriptions, there's an issue with something, and you're fatigued, or you're tired, or you're discouraged. And I'm telling you, you've got to have a point. For instance, with me, I was told I was going to die without heart surgery, be on drugs the rest of my life, and there was no other way. And I had to start out by telling myself that I can do this. So say, I can. I'm going to show you people today that were told they can't. I'm going to show you examples of people. Who here feels encouraged when you see that somebody else did something and got through something that you were in? Raise your hands. Right? So say, I can. The second thing to that is I will. You know, I'm a little older than some of you guys here, but when I was a kid, my grandfather and my father, when they had an agreement with somebody and they stood toe-to-toe and put out a hand and shook hands and looked in someone's eye, they would have died not to do what they said they were going to do. Does that make sense? And now in the society that we have all these contracts, we have all these things. So, if you just don't feel like it or something happens, then, you just back out and you did the best you could. And so, everybody's like that, so it's no big deal. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And the reason that so many of you guys, you quit right before you get results, you quit before breakthrough happens, is because you have not done and followed the word that you spoke. Does that make sense? And so I'm going to say, I will. So say, I will. I will. And so we're going to move through that. And the last but not least is this, and it's I must. Say, I must. What most people make peace with in their life is the very thing and the reason that they're in the condition and the place that they don't want to be. What you make peace with is what you live with. And what you make peace with is what you're okay with. What you make peace with is now your house. And you think it's your house, but you've made your own prison and you've created your own bars. And I can tell you, until you stop making peace with the diagnosis and stop making peace with your current weight, which you think is okay, and your current level of a relationship that you have and your current level of whatever, until you start making war against it and feel like you must do something, I cannot do anything else, you are going to stay exactly where you are. And it could be 1,000 charismatic Dr. Davids that talk to you. It could be 1,000 different bundle things that you purchase. It could be classes that you go to, or self-help books, or sermons, or whatever podcasts that you watch. You will never get out of the current situation you're in unless you feel like you must do something different. And before I go on, let me say this. It's like this. I'm going to talk about this a lot today. It's an unfolding narrative. It's your story. There's a book being written about you right now. Your life, where you've been, where you're at right now, where you're going. The problem I see with most people is that most people can only see where? Right here. We have developed a society that engorges itself on information, and you can go through 3,000 pieces of information in 5 minutes through Facebook and Instagram and Google and Wikipedia and all this other stuff. But it's created people who now don't have a disdain for here because they can only see life right here. But if I could show you the financial issue that you're having, or the 15 extra pounds that you have that you've made peace with, or the medication that your doctor said you just need to make it a lifestyle and you're going to be on it the rest of your life, or your relational issue that you haven't developed a solution to, whatever it is, if I just walked that out over the next year, 3, 5, 10, 20 years, some of you guys, number one, would be dead. Some of you guys would be divorced. Some of you guys would never talk to your children again. Some of you guys would be in wheelchairs. Some of you guys would be suffering and hurting. And the problem with it is, here's the problem. Pretty good. That's the biggest enemy right now of you today. Pretty good. I'm pretty good. My weight's pretty good. My relationship's pretty good. I feel pretty good taking these medications. And until you get a holy disdain for right now, and that you can see in the future that this is leading you like a bull ring in your nose to a place that you don't want to go, you will never change. And so, I must. Say, I must. So throughout today, I want you to say, I'm going to say, I can. And you're going to say, I can, I will, and I must. And I don't want you to do it like, I can. Guess what I want? Raise your hand if you want to leave here different than when you showed up. Okay. Raise your hand if you want to learn something amazingly new that you've never heard. Now, even more importantly, watch this. Who wants to learn that amazingly something new, but more importantly, have an application that radically changes your life? Can I get a hands on that? Right? So I can, I will, and I must. All right. So where's my clicker? Here we go. All right. So today, really, this is about Medicine Cabinet Makeover. Now, we chose that title not necessarily only because we want to radically make over that cabinet in your house that's called a medicine cabinet, and we do. But it's also a play on words, a metaphor, because some people live in a mindset of medical living, and some people don't. And what do I mean by medical living? I'm not just talking about medicine. I'm talking about better life through better chemistry and reactionary living from a fire to a fire. Does it make sense? What you really want is to create a life for yourself that, like a machine, as you crank it out, it produces the life that you want. Does that make sense? Some of you guys are living your life day to day with things that are pretty good. You're pretty good life, you're pretty good health, you're pretty good weight, you're pretty good energy, you're pretty good sleep, you're pretty good relationship. And what happens is you're trying to hold on to the pretty good, and you're running from fire to symptom to symptom, and you're trying to treat the symptom, you're trying to treat the fire. The whole time, you're slowly losing the pretty good. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah. And so what you really want is to create a life that is cranking out and productive and producing the life that you want. What does that look like? Metaphorically, it's coming away from that type of living, and it's moving toward a productive, healthy life. And I'll talk about what that means. But I want to start with this whole start. Before we get to break, there's a couple of things I'm going to give you. But the biggest thing I want to get into is this right here. If I could physically open your cap, take a brush and soap, and wash your brain out from all the stuff that you've heard, I would do that. So am I saying I want to brainwash you? Yes. Absolutely, 100%. You got it. But it starts with a couple things. First of all, who thinks that having drug commercials on TV has been beneficial for the United States? Anybody? Everybody laughs because we're only one of 2 countries in the world that's done that. Has that been profitable for pharmaceutical companies? Yes. Absolutely. Drove craziness. Now, here's the thing. You've seen so many drug commercials and you're so educated. Yes, we're going to talk about drugs this morning, but I'm only going to talk about drugs because I want to shock you so that you wake up and you're learning something new and you're like, man, the world is not the way that I saw it, okay? Who here realizes that every drug commercial is actually designed specifically with wording, inflection, music, lighting, and visuals so that you hear and see what they want you to hear, right? So let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to show you an actual drug commercial. This is for Latuda. It's for bipolar. I'm not promoting it. I don't want you to have to take this. And listen, as soon as I start talking bad about medications, let me say this. Some of you guys are on meds, and I don't want you to feel judged. Is there a time to take medication, yes or no? Absolutely. So don't feel judged if you're on medications and you're coming today. But here's the thing. Nobody here wants to have a lifestyle of medication. Would you agree? And a lot of you guys came for that solution, and that's what we're going to do today. But I want you to be able to see something different. So when I play this, and you're actually going to be able to look up and see it occasionally, I actually want you to look down. I don't want you to look at the screen, or I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to listen to the words. Because what happens is between the lighting, the actual images, you will actually turn your brain off when it starts talking about all the side effects. So what I want you to do is I want you to not do that. I want you to listen for every side effect that you can in this. And the way it works is this. It's going to start out, it's going to talk about, hey, are you suffering? So first of all, I want to convince you that you're suffering. So it's a verbal cue they want to insert. So are you suffering with blank? That's how they all start, right? Then it says there are solutions for that, okay? And studies have shown, so they want to say this is, we've actually studied it, science, there's science and yada, yada, yada. It's proof, it's proven, it's proof, proven. There's science that shows that this new drug, yada, 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 works for blank. And people do better this percentage of time and this, and we've seen this, and it's awesome. And this is the awesome, most awesome drug. But then it's going to say this. But it's not for what? Everyone. And then what comes right after that? All the list of the side effects. She brings her voice down a little bit, right? I want you to see if you can count how many times you will die or have a chance of death when actually she goes through the side effects. Got it? And then watch. At the end, the music will cue down, stop, and then it'll go, so there's other solutions. There are solutions if you're struggling with blank, and this is the drug, and yada, yada, yada. Got it? You guys ready? Here we go.
If you're struggling with bipolar depression, there are treatment options. Ask your doctor if once-a-day Latuda, lurasidone HCl, may help you. In clinical studies, Latuda has been shown to be effective for many people struggling with bipolar depression. Latuda is not for everyone. Call your doctor if you have unusual changes in mood, behaviors, or thoughts of suicide. Antidepressants can increase these in children, teens, and young adults. Elderly dementia patients taking Latuda have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor if you have fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, as these may be signs of a life-threatening reaction, or if you have uncontrollable muscle movements, as these may become permanent. High blood sugar has been reported with Latuda and medicines like it, and in some cases, extreme high blood sugar can lead to coma or death. Other risks include decreases in white blood cells, which can be fatal, dizziness upon standing, seizures, increased cholesterol, weight gain, increased prolactin levels, impairment in judgment, or trouble swallowing. Avoid grapefruit and grapefruit juice while taking Latuda. Use caution before driving or operating machinery. There are paths to treat bipolar depression. Ask your doctor if once-a-day Latuda for bipolar depression is right for you.
Did you hear it? Now, the reason I walked you through the cognitive neurological cues is because I never, ever want you to fall prey to that ever again. And I want you to teach your kids not to fall prey to that. I want you to teach your grandkids not to fall prey to that. Does that make sense? That was there for one reason, so that you go ask your doctor and you think it's a solution, okay? And you don't, I mean, right now, because you looked down and you heard all those side effects, how many chances of death did you at least hear in there? It's 5. At least 5, and I think there's probably more like 8 if you counted the things that would lead to death, like wrecking your car, okay? And so, now watch this. It's all about mindset. It's about a mindset of being the left, which is metaphorically, it's symptom-driven, fire to fire, not creating a life that's producing what you want, versus something that's more natural. Now, we put, essential oils and things, and we're going to have lots of different remedies today, but it's just a life that's healthy. It's a life that's at peace and at joy. Does it make sense? That's what you're trying to do, right? So, this is all about decisions. I want everybody to say decide. So if I spray some poison on bugs that are supposed to kill bugs, what do you call that? Call it a pesticide. And there's pesticide, there's suicide, there's homicide, there's all kind of herbicide, right? What does it, CIDE mean? CIDE means to put to death. Everybody with me? The problem with today, everybody, I don't care what age you're at, society has now created, it's politically correct not to keep your options open. So nobody puts anything to death as far as their options ever. But there's one word that's extremely important today, that if you don't do this, your results wax, wane, or don't show up ever. And it's because you need to what? Decide. You are going to decide today that this was the line, and I'm going to finally get over that weight issue. This is the line, and I'm going to finally get through that blood pressure problem. This is the line, and I'm going to finally beat that diabetes. Or this is the line, and my relationship with my spouse is going to be better, period. It's going to be the best marriage that I know of. This is the line where it says my relationship with my kid. This is the line where the financial things stop and I start doing mature things or whatever. You guys see that? There's a line, but it's because you burned your ships at the shore and you made a decision. Everybody with me? I can. Now here's the thing. You're doing good. You're doing good. Next week, I'm not going to be with you. And when you're supposed to be getting up or you're supposed to make a better decision for your nutrition, I'm not going to be there with you. I wish I could be. I'd go smack. No, I wouldn't. But I'm not going to be with you, and guess what I want to come into your head? I can, I will, I must. And the louder you say it here, the louder you're going to hear it there. And if you don't say it very loud and you don't hear it very loud next week, you may go ahead and just keep doing what you've been doing. And I didn't work this hard, and you didn't show up today, and you didn't buy a ticket today so that you got the same results you've been getting, right? So I can. I can. I will. I must. Good. All right, so it's all about decisions. Who here knows people that you went to a high school reunion, and the people that you saw that were making some better decisions, the further you went along in life, Small decisions made huge differences. I can tell you that I saw some people on Facebook recently that I graduated high school with. I don't feel like I'm that old, mid-40s, and I got people in my class that are on canes and, 6, 8, 10 medications. Like, that just sounds crazy to me. In fact, actually, some of them have already died of cancer and heart disease, and they're in their 40s, right? Who here knows what I'm talking about? Who's felt that before, right? Now, watch this. This is a good example of this.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide.
All right, you guys come on up here. Who here gets more encouragement when somebody else has already done and gone through the path that you've gone through? Raise your hands, right? So this is Ron and Paula Williams. Let me grab my mic. Ron and Paula, how long have you guys been under care in the office?
9 years.
Say it.
We came in.
Ooh, am I on?
We came in 08, about this exact same time, 1st of June.
In 08.
08.
Yeah. I like you to believe I've only been doing this 3 years, but it's been 20 now. All right, so the reason I asked these guys up is because they're great examples, not of their conditions that they're over, although we're over a lot of stuff, not because they're doing just so good, and they are doing amazing, but it's because they are really good examples of just living completely different than the average people, how they live. Does this make sense? So you guys came in the office. What's the first thing you guys learned when you came in the office? You guys said you had 3 main things or something, right?
Oh, yeah, my back was killing me. I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
And I was on my way to an orthopedic, and my assistant sent me to you. You mean to tell it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. When I saw you working with the patients back there and all the kids and everything, I called Paul on the phone, and I said, I've seen fewer quacks on a duck pond.
I love it. So, okay. Go ahead.
No, I just...
Yeah. So raise your hand if you've ever been skeptical about anything in your life, right? So me too. Actually, I'm probably the biggest skeptic in the room. But so you came in. What did we find? So both you guys actually came in. You guys got examination, and what did we find?
Well, I'd broken my neck about 30 years ago, and you found it, and we started working on adjustments 3 times a week for 6 months. Yeah. But then we went to a makeover about a month into it, and started working on some of these other things, the nutrition especially, and the diet sort of stuff. And I lost 28 pounds in the first
That's
6
awesome.
months or 7 months,
Good.
something like that.
So we started adjusting you too. So really, you guys started with your nervous system because he had a broken neck. Okay, so it was and he was hurting. And then you guys came to a makeover like this, started changing your diet. You lost a bunch of weight, and then there was a third thing. It was actually more recent. What happened there?
Skin disease.
Yeah, so you had a big skin thing, and that you guys almost got poisoned or something.
Yeah. Oh, we were cleaning out, his dad's a hoarder. We were cleaning out his shed, and there was rat poop and mold and dust, and we had respiratory, and then it just came out our skin.
Yeah, so your arms swelled up, huge. You had skin stuff?
Yeah, I had skin where it was just scabbed all up and down, around, down my legs, and it was just spreading.
Got it.
And I went to a doctor.
Yeah, dermatologist, yeah. So, and that's okay, right? That's okay. But, so you didn't find a solution there. There was just prescription drugs, and that's...
Wasted my money.
Wasted. So, are you a little upset about the wasted money?
I'm still ticked off about that.
So, the point is, a lot of copays. So, you guys, because you guys had learned something different, and this was a lifestyle, you guys had been adjusted the whole time, right? When you guys hit an issue, which is why, again, we have a lot of patients here too. When you hit an issue, the solution was just go back to what's the interference and how do I get back to health again? Would you agree? So would you say that you were actively living a life that was producing health, or you were actively seeking and living a medical life?
Well, what we've learned since, the issue that we both had, we got it together. We felt it come on together. probably would have made us very sick and might have even killed us. There's like a 50% mortality rate on people that get that much ingested into their system. And Paula knew we were toxic. She said, we've been poisoned with all the stuff.
Yeah.
And so we went to Kim and we did the blood test and the metabolics.
Yeah, so
and started on that. And
we're going to talk about metabolics here after break, but metabolics is a specific exacting urine and blood test to show you exactly what your nutrition needs are as far as supplementation and those things to fill in the gaps where there's damage. And these guys had very specific needs that until we actually did that, it was really hard to get results. And as soon as you did it, it was almost miraculous, right?
Yeah, it started clearing up in a couple of months, and it was gone in 6 months.
Yeah, and your arm cleared up.
My arm cleared up in a week when she told me to do what I needed to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let me ask you this. If I went and looked in your medicine cabinet at your house, what would I see?
Essential oils.
Would I see a lot of medications?
No, none.
We're on zero medication, no aspirin, nothing for years.
Good. Awesome. Good.
And we're over 65.
She's trying to tell her age. They're doing pretty good for 50, even though they're not 50. So, yeah, so.
Try 70.
Yeah,
no, we're not 70. We're 67 and 68.
I wasn't going to go there, but she's going there. Okay, so listen, so big round of applause for you guys. Thank you guys so much. Awesome. All right. So the reason I brought them up here is because do you think there are people like them that don't know the things that they've learned? They're not walking it out the way they've walked it out, and as a result, their results are completely different than somebody else. Yes or no? Yeah. And it's about small decisions. It's all it is, small decisions day by day. But the longer you go down a road of making these decisions, the more powerful those decisions become. Okay, so today's about taking actions and changing the decisions that you make daily. Does that make sense? Everybody with me? So we're going to start. The biggest thing in your medicine cabinet that I want to start with is medication. And I'm going to kill this. So everybody ready? Buckle your seatbelt, metaphorically, because I'm going to go fast through this, okay? Medications are number one. First of all, medications, the studies proving they're good, are they independent studies or are they industry-driven, paid-for studies? Yeah, and right now we know that you're 29 times more likely to have a favorable result from a study if it's paid for by the industry. 29 times. Did you get that, right? So let's just start with a couple of them. Do you guys realize that right now, when you think you need a medication is constantly ever changing? Did you know that? Like, when do you have high blood pressure? Well, you guys might know, but guess what? It's been changing. When are you officially diabetic? Well, you may know, but actually it's been changing. When do you have osteoporosis? Well, you may know, but it's actually been changing. When do I have high cholesterol? Well, you may know, but it's actually been changing. Watch this. This is one of the newest changes for some of what, quote, normals are for you. So for diabetes, they changed fasting blood sugar from 140 down to 126, and in doing so, they increased the amount of people diagnosed with diabetes by 14%. 1.6 million more people have diabetes just by a stroke of a pen. Blood pressure, high blood pressure went from 160 over 100, now it's down to 140 over 90. They've increased the amount of people that, quote, need drugs, and how long? Need blood pressure meds. So when someone gets on a blood pressure med, how long do most people stay on it? So would you say it's a lifestyle now? It becomes a lifestyle drug. And 13, almost 0.5, so 13.5 million more people needed it just because the stroke of a pen, they changed the value. How about cholesterol drugs? Now that will blow your mind. Decrease it from 240 down to 200. By the way, it used to be 300. Now it's 200, and they increased the amount of people that need the cholesterol drug. 42 million people, 86% increase in the amount of people that need cholesterol drugs. Are you with me? And I'm gonna hit cholesterol drugs first, but osteoporosis, ladies, T-scores went from 2.5 down to 2, and you have 6.7 million more women who are so in fear that their bones are going to break, they're going to have hip fractures, they're weak, they're feeble, and it's all about fear, and I hate it. If I've got one thing that I can't stand when people speak fear into you when you're fearfully and wonderfully made and you're more powerful than you know. Got it? All right, so moving forward. I love this. It causes all this stuff, but it is FDA approved. Does it give anybody a warm blanket feeling because it's FDA approved? Let's start with Lipitor. Statin drugs in general. They wrote a book. It's called The Thief of Memory. The issue is that the problem, your brain tissue is made of 60% cholesterol, which means if you decrease your cholesterol, you decrease your what? Your brain. You have dementia. Right now, there's over 1 million older adults who are now in memory care centers and retirement centers who have what's called, listen to me, this is a real thing, statin-induced dementia. Did you know that? And yet, guess what? They're still being given what? Cholesterol drugs, statins, right? Now, here's the other problem. CoQ10 is also something that's depleted because HMG-CoA is part of that process. I won't get scientific with you, but you destroy your process of making CoQ10, which is what your body uses to make energy. And the reason that's an issue is if your body can't use energy, then it's going to store the energy that you eat. And you're going to be tired, and you're going to start storing energy, which means you do what? Come on. You gain weight, right? And if you're gaining weight and you can't use energy, can you see that might be related to, guess what? Diabetes. But we also can see, guess what? Everybody says, well, I got to take it because I don't have a heart attack. But the truth is, cholesterol does not cause heart attacks. The oxidation of cholesterol does, which means the rest of your lifestyle, stress, sugars, these things. But watch this. It's actually, watch this, every point that your cholesterol goes down statistically increases your likelihood of a heart attack by 36%. Do you know that? How about this one? It's more people have death and heart attacks the lower your cholesterol goes. Did you know that? Right? That's a huge one. And because cholesterol is a repair substance for the body. This is a crazy thing. This is just new to me about a month ago. I posted this on Facebook. If you're not friends with us on Facebook, me personally or the office, please do that before you leave because I send out stuff constantly about medications, just things that you never hear. I have some of you guys going like this because we're friends and you guys see stuff. Actually, you send me some stuff that I post, actually. But statin use increases odds of back disorder. So spondylosis, intervertebral disc disorders, herniated disc spine. Like when you take a statin drug, it basically just rots and decays your spine. And a person who is also a functional neurologist, let me tell you something. You destroy your spine, you think that might affect your whole life. That's a bad deal. And this was actually a study that showed it. But how about blood pressure medications? Does anybody know where they come from? This is going to blow you away. In the 60s, there was a guy in South America doing research on poisonous snakes. And he found a pit viper. And the poison in the pit viper, it kills its prey by thinning their blood to where their blood doesn't hold oxygen. And so the prey asphyxiates because even if they breathe, they can't get oxygen. And so the guy looked at it and goes, huh, so this will actually thin somebody's blood. So he goes, I bet we could actually synthesize that, have people swallow it, kill a little bit of their blood, and their blood pressure will go down. And guess what? They were right. So if you're taking a blood pressure drug today, and again, there's no judgment. You didn't know this before, and maybe you didn't know you could get out for that. But you're actually swallowing synthetic snake venom. And I'm the quack, right? But it's called an ACE inhibitor. So, I mean, you're literally looking at just where it came from, just right. And are there side effects to blood pressure meds? Yes, everything from impotence to depression, anxiety, a chronic cough. If you look at your insert, if you have that, it says if you have a dry, persistent cough, call your doctor immediately. And the reason for that is because it causes permanent lung damage in a lot of people, that people have to have part of their lobes removed from taking blood pressure meds. Again, there's lots of side effects. But did you realize that just a chiropractic adjustment has been shown, Journal of Hypertension magazine shows that it's actually showed statistically better for 18 weeks with one adjustment than all four that were in the study, all drugs, 4 drugs combined. I had a guy last week that had higher blood pressure, got adjusted, sent him home. His blood pressure went down 30 points in one adjustment. Think the world needs to know about that? Right? But on average, statistically, the top number goes down 14 points and the lower number goes down 8 points. Is that cool? Yes? Good. All right. How about non-steroidal anti-inflammatories? There's the list. Find yours. But the top of the list is what? Aspirin. They tell you to take that how often? Every day to prevent what? Heart attacks or death from heart attacks. What does the real research show, though? Because I have people that want to challenge me on this that aren't patients, that don't know me, that don't know that I'm a nerd, and I like to get into, challenge me. I've got a Rolodex full of articles, okay? Watch this. National Institutes of Health says right now that whether you're healthy or you already have heart problems, that you actually have an increased risk of having issues with your heart because it causes cardiovascular toxicity. Did you get that? That's National Institutes of Health. Oh, but that's not enough because it's probably only one study. Really? So how's some more? How about American Heart Journal? Patients receiving aspirin treatment showed the worst cardiac outcomes. New England Journal of Medicine, 2005. 10-year study, 40,000 women, no fewer heart attacks or cardiovascular deaths in women that received aspirin therapy. How about this one? Diabetics, no benefit. Diabetics, no clear benefit for aspirin, but did note an increased risk of serious bleeding, and on and on and on. What does that mean? If you're taking aspirin a day, there's what kind of benefit? None. Zero benefit. Oh, no, there is a benefit. It's all negative, though, right? And so that's a poison, and I want to make sure you guys get away from it. But how about ibuprofen? Because it's not a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory because you need something else, right? So ibuprofen. This just came out, about a month ago. Taking ibuprofen for just 1 day increases your likelihood of a heart attack by 50%. And some of you guys go, well, I never take it. Well, okay, once in 1 day, right? A lot of patients have a lot of pain who are taking 4 a day. And it's like you're just winding up a little box, ding, 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 just hoping this is not your number, okay? How about oral steroids? Some of you guys never take this stuff, so you won't pay attention. But what happened the last time you got poison ivy? They gave you a steroid. What happened the last time you had a lung infection or something like this? Because you weren't patients in the office. They gave you a steroid. You say, well, I don't take it unless I absolutely have to. Oh, fine. But guess what? Within 30 days of taking a steroid, twice as likely to have fractures, 3 times as likely to have a venous thromboembolism, basically a stroke, 5 times more likely to have sepsis, and this is British Medical Journal. But guess what happened to the prescription rates once this came out this year? Did they go down? No, they didn't go down. Didn't change anything. Allergy medications, over the counter, simple stuff, right? Heart rate, blood pressure, atrial fibrillation. And here's the thing, guys. It's just about symptom and action. Symptom and action. If you or your kids have allergies, I get it, right? And you want to take something, you don't want to have to deal with it. The problem with it is you're trading allergy symptoms and relief for stuff like this. And if you're a parent giving this to your child, you're saying, okay, I don't want my child to have the symptoms of allergies, which, by the way, don't change their diet. Don't get them off of their cell phone, destroying their neck. Don't get the Pop-Tarts and the breakfast cereals away from them. Don't work on toxicity in life. Don't work. Just give them this. And what you're actually giving them is ADHD symptoms, restless leg, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, insomnia, heart palpitations, night terrors, dementia, like this is what you're giving instead. Does it make sense? But surely that couldn't be on there because it's over the counter. But guess what? It still is. Birth control, liver tumors, migraines, and some of you guys, most actually patients that I meet now aren't taking it to keep from getting pregnant. They're taking it because they have such a dysfunction in their female cycle, and they're using hormones to try and radically stop it. The problem with it is you're trading that benefit, if you will, for eventually possibly not ever being able to have a baby. Infertility is actually a major side effect. And another one is just cancer. Very seldom do we see women come in with cancer that haven't been taking blood pressure or birth control now. But I put this in here because a lot of parents who were smoking switched over to e-cigarettes, and guess where they keep the fluid? In their medicine cabinet, because they don't want their kids to get into it. So I thought I'd throw this in there. The problem with it is, you see somebody smoking today, and you see someone sitting next to them doing an e-cigarette, you should feel sorry for the person that's smoking the e-cigarette and go, man, I wish they were smoking a cigarette, which sounds terrible. Because guess what we just found out? It's 10 times worse if you're smoking an e-cigarette. 10 times more cancer-causing issues. 10 times more dangerous. 10 times more health robbing and destroying your future, right? And yet, people think it's better. Do you see that? All right. E-cigarettes. I'm going to go through a couple things now. I'm going to get into a couple of protocols, a couple of things you can switch in your actual medicine cabinet, go through a couple of things, then I have one really big secret before we go into the break here in a little bit. Does that sound good? All right, so sun exposure, okay? Sun exposure. I have people and women tell me all the time the sun causes skin cancer. Is that true? You're like, I don't know, is it true? It's not true. It's actually not the sun. God made the sun. He didn't put it up there in the sky to go, you know what, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to cause skin cancer and all these people. It's going to be great. What happens is your unhealthiness and your toxicity takes the sun's energy and it actually becomes cancer because of you, not because of the sun. Okay? Now that's a big jump. But watch this. Do you realize what studies actually show? This is an awesome study from Sweden, 2014, that shows the women who get a lot, like everyday sun exposure. These are the sunbathers, right? They actually have twice, double the less mortality. So of everything. So if you don't get sun because you don't want skin cancer and you're going to stay, pasty white and you're going to stay quote healthy, guess what? You have twice the likely mortality of every disease: cancer, heart disease, MS, autoimmune, all the rest. Does it make sense? So you need sunshine, but we don't want to burn. So guess what's in your medicine cabinet right now? I can almost guarantee you 90% of the room. Sunblock, because you don't want to burn, right? I put a bunch of them up there. Yours may not be up there. Guess what? Find it. It's probably up there. And what you're going to notice is there's 3 major things: oxybenzone, triethanolamine, and pegate laureate. Those, and then the last one, retinol palmitate. This stuff is absolutely toxic. The first one destroys, wrecks your hormones. Second one does the same thing, but it causes organ system toxicity. And retinol palmitate is in most of the baby formulas, so your infant or your youngest kids. And the studies have shown when actually that chemical gets exposed to the sun, it becomes a massive free radical that damages cellular membranes and DNA. So you're destroying your babies, your brand new baby. If you're actually putting conventional sunscreen on yourself or your children, it's almost as if you're just putting hormone cream, that you're putting estrogen cream or testosterone cream on them, because it just wrecks all of their hormones and leads them into disease. Does that make sense? So what are some alternatives? There's great alternatives. Natural Grocers has some. I'm sure Sprouts has some. I think Natural Grocers may be the biggest untapped healthy part of now. Now Costco's getting into it. Costco's got a lot of great stuff. But there's some easy stuff. Everybody, if you're taking notes, EWG.org. That's Environmental Working Group. You can actually go find your products, not just sunscreens, but cleaners and everything else. It'll tell you what to look for, how bad it actually is, and you may have some good stuff that actually has some bad stuff, but it's okay, you know, but you can find it, okay? So go to that website, it's awesome. But what if, watch this, what if you actually get burned, okay? How do you keep that from, what is the most important sunscreen to have? I talked about this about a week ago. Everybody look at my face now. The most important sunscreen you're ever gonna have is the one you put on the inside of you. And I'm not even talking about drinking your sunscreen. I'm talking about your antioxidant level. If I take 2 apples, cut them in half, one's got more antioxidants than the other, and I put it exposed to air, this one's got a lot of antioxidants, this one has less. Which turns brown faster? This one over here, exactly. Do you realize right now, if you're taking antioxidant supplementation, you're eating lots of kale, seaweed salad, green juice, salads in general, broccolis, these things, and you go out in the sun. Who here, just think about this, has gone out in the sun one time and you got smoked like that, and another time you were out there for a long time and you didn't get burned? Anybody? Can I get a raise of hands? Why was that? What's different? Guess what was different? You were different. Do you know right now you can actually get a heavy duty, like fresh squeezed broccoli and ginger and green apple. You get a heavy duty, like serious antioxidant drink, suck that back, and then go get in the sunshine. Do you know that you're less likely to burn, or it takes longer to burn you if you do that than if you didn't? Did you know that? That's the craziest thing, which is why one of the solutions to sunscreen is actually this detox system, so that you're actually increasing your glutathione continually so you don't burn so bad. So raise your hand if you're going on a summer trip where you might be in the sun, right? Guess what? You're welcome, sunscreen right there, right? On the inside, okay? But watch this. You do get burned occasionally. That is a patient who sent me that picture on a Thursday. That's her shoulder. Look how red that is. Do you see that? You think that hurt? Holy moly. Raise your hand if you ever got burnt bad. I got smoked once. Well, this is a protocol. And again, you can write it down. We're going to have this as an ebook, so you'll get this here in a second. But olive oil, coconut oil, lavender oil, aloe, and vitamin E. Awesome. This patient dabbed it on there, kept it going throughout the day, and by Sunday, did not have a burn and did not peel. Who would like to be able to do that if and next time you get burned, right? Everybody, right? But watch this. Isn't it interesting that some people just, watch this, who gets burned the worst? It's the people who are drinking out on the boat or whatever else, partaking, right? Why? It's because the alcohol decreases your oxidative ability to undo oxidative stress, and you can't even protect yourself from the sun, and then you get smoked, right? Right? But watch this. I actually have a personal experience. Zanae, that was up here with tickets, Zanae, when she was a newborn, we went on a vacation. She was just a couple months old. And it's Texas sun. We're not going to put her out in the sun. So we put her underneath the shade. Full shade, no direct sunshine. But we're out there for several hours. She took a nap. And so I looked up, and it looked like she was starting to get too hot because she was a little bit pink. And I said, we need to get this baby out of the heat. It's kind of hot. And so we just went in. We had a little lunch, had a little dinner. We just stayed in, and then we went to bed. 2 o'clock in the morning, we woke up. This is what we saw. Her face, this is my brand new infant. And her face swelled her eye shut, huge blisters on her. This is a 3rd-degree sunburn. And all of a sudden, all I can think, it looks like you hit her face with a blowtorch. And it's like, here I am a parent. You get a little freaky when you're a parent, right? I'm like, do I need to go to the emergency room? Like, I don't live a medical life, but there's times for medicine, and then maybe this is the time. And my wife talked me off of the ledge, and she goes, let's just do the protocol. And so we did the protocol, and not a scar, not anything. And so I'm telling you, I know this works, not because I walked through it with a lot of you guys. I've walked through this. Does it make sense? Okay, so how about something else here? Deodorant. Nobody here likes to stink. Thank you. That's good. But if you're doing antiperspirant and keeping yourself from having an odor or actually sweating, that is a terrible thing if you're shutting down glands. And that leads to all kind of things, which is why it's linked to breast cancers and autoimmune diseases and those things. And so be aware of aluminum and anything that's got it in there. And you're putting it right where, ladies, you're putting it right next to your breast tissue. This is not a good idea. Okay, what are some solutions to that? Pure protection. Actually, this is a patient in our office who actually created a company as a result of hearing this and learning this, created her own stuff, and now I would not use anything else. I use this every single day, and actually I kind of freaked out because yesterday I had to do this and get the last little bit out of it, and I didn't have anything for this morning, and she brought me some Friday, so it was good. But the point is, this is actually available to you today. So isn't it nice that we have a lot of people coming today to be vendors, yes or no? All right, so a little prop on there. Now here's another one. Also too, if you can't eat your deodorant, you shouldn't have it. You shouldn't put it on you, right? If I had some up here, I'd show that it's edible. I made a joke. I said, if you get stuck in an airport one time, you just eat your deodorant, you survive, right? But I did that last time I was on stage. I ate some of the deodorant because it's not bad. It's just stuff. It's edible stuff. Bug spray. Man, I know you guys are going to slather this stuff on. We live in Texas. Actually, it's funny. Dr. Russ says, you guys don't have mosquitoes. He's from Louisiana, right? I've been to Louisiana. I got carried off to the nest. They just jabbed me and flew, and I was like, took it off. But bad stuff. DEET, actually, and you guys are sensitive to it too, but kids are very sensitive to it. It actually affects your neurology, and developing neurology is even more sensitive to it. Changes hormones, linked to all kind of organ toxicity. You do not want this on you. If it is so poisonous that an insect can't even land on you, you don't want it on you, right? But here's the thing. Who here has tried something that was natural alternative and it just didn't work very well? Come on. Nobody else? You guys just staying with the DEET. Okay. But what is the solution? Same company, same lady, the Couches, and Jonathan and Natalie, started this product. And it actually, here's the thing. I've used a lot of stuff. I'm the guy that's always trying stuff, right? Because I don't want to point you guys in the wrong direction. They made this, and in my backyard, we're on a green belt. We have a creek and all this lush green. And so I go in my backyard, and all I hear is constantly. And I can't even hardly go back. I sprayed this stuff on, and it works. It works. In fact, I will tell you, it works as good as the other stuff, okay? And she's got that today, too. So make sure you get some of that. Body lotions. Ladies, the parabens, DMDM, the BHA, all this stuff is linked to cancer. It's linked, seriously linked to cancer. Hormone disruptions, breast cancer. Like, you slather this stuff on so your skin's not dry, and yet you're signing yourself up for disease. And that, I'm not trying to exaggerate things. This is the real thing. So you need something different. I could go to almost every single home right now, and you've got lotion in your house, yes or no? Yep. And if you got lotion in your house, I can almost guarantee you, you don't have something that's healthy. And your excuse is, well, I just haven't found something what? That works. Well, guess what? John is here with Preluvi. He also is a Maximize Living patient, and they created another company called Preluvi, and they've got face butter, body butter, and they also have lip balms. Some of you guys have lip balms, but it has SPF chemicals in it, and so not only is it soaking into your bloodstream through your skin, you're also what? Swallowing it. You do not want to do that. So just get your stuff, replace it, go get your stuff today. Also, I want to say this. Ladies, you guys have anti-aging creams, right? Your anti-aging cream works two ways. It actually supposedly gets rid of wrinkles. Do you know how it does that? It actually causes inflammation and swelling, okay? So that actually it's puffy so you don't see your wrinkles. And it actually, watch this, even worse, it actually causes damage to the elastocartilage in your skin, so your skin over time is not as elastic, which means when you're doing this, you start to develop what? Wrinkles. If you look at people who use anti-aging creams versus ones, conventional ones, versus ones that don't, the ones that don't use anti-aging creams look better, longer, younger, period. Did you get that? So lots of stuff. So what's the solution? There it is. So solutions. Listen, it's very important to me that you guys get results. And this is not a program so you guys come and just buy a bunch of stuff so I can sell you stuff. I want you to get results. And unless you actually are taking care of the problems that you have, you're just not going to get it. And so, again, this is where I'm telling you the stuff that you need to buy at break. But I want you to buy it for a reason. I want you to understand, okay, rather than just telling you. This bundle, okay, here includes something that's called Detox System. As you live a life that you've slathered lotions on and bad toothpaste and hairspray and shampoo and deodorant and air fresheners and carpet cleaners and laundry detergent and whatever, and medications, you actually create an increasing level of toxicity that creates results that you thought was natural aging. And you say, well, maybe this is just the way it's supposed to be at this age. And you don't have to raise your hand, but guess what? I can almost guarantee I hit everybody in the room. One of the ways that you get out of that is you actually pull the stuff out, increase your antioxidant bank inside, and you are able to really pull it all the way through the system. The way that works is you take one product, which is called Cell Detox, in the morning, first thing, increase your glutathione, and this product helps pull it across the cell membrane. And then this Body Detox you take at night so that it binds everything, because you detox about 90-95% of your stuff through your bowels. This goes in your bowels, and it's activated charcoal and psyllium husk and other things, and it binds it so you remove it completely. If you don't take something like this, some of you guys have tried detoxes, and you tried juice cleanses, and you tried all these other things, and it didn't work. And the reason this does is because you will retoxify. Your body will actually use bile and have it come back through again, so you retoxify your liver again. Nothing's been shown to do stuff like this, okay? And so some of you guys, I don't want you to buy it for this, but some of you guys will lose 5, 10, 15 pounds just by taking this, okay? Just because toxicity ends up in fat cells. And so next is vitamin D. There's lots of different research on vitamin D and toxicity, but whenever you are exposed to more and more chemicals, your body has to use vitamin D through the detox process. So if I take any of you guys, the more conventional products you use, the lower your vitamin D will be, which means you have to absolutely not just get sunshine, but get vitamin D. There's research that shows over 90% of U.S. adults that were blood tested, even the ones that live in Florida, have amazing amounts of just low vitamin D. And so how do you fix that? You take a product, and some of you guys are, well, I know, I'm taking a product. Listen, I don't want to push here, but I've seen some of your products, and they don't work, and they're horrible. And so this is one of the cheapest things, and unless yours has the right vitamin D and the right probiotic and the right ratio, you're not going to absorb it. So this is very good. That's why it's part of the program. This is also something. Chemicals, the biggest part they have to play on you, and there's a lot of things they'll do to the body, but they destroy your digestive tract. Okay? It's the most active system in your body past the heart and lungs, and it just gets reeked with stuff that you eat, food additives. Some of you guys have been swallowing stuff like non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, prescription drugs, which is why, there's intestinal bleeding with most of that stuff. Your gut has to heal in order for your joints to heal, in order for your brain to heal, in order for your immune system to heal, in order for your emotions to heal, all of that. Does it make sense? And so Max GI is a product that I need you to have so that the lining is no longer inflammatory or hyperpermeable. Okay? So again, this is extremely important. Also, Daily Defense and whey protein, but Daily Defense, somebody asked me on Friday, what's the one thing that I could take to decrease my inflammation? I just need a product, my joints, my blood vessels, so my blood pressure. This would be the product if you only took one, which is why we do this. It reduces oxidative stress, but it supports a natural decrease in your inflammation. Here's the problem. Everybody looks at me. I don't want to give you something to treat something. Right? Why? Because if I do that, it's just like, it may be less side effects of something natural, but it's all about giving your body what it needs so it overcomes on its own, not because I'm treating a condition with a chemical, even though it may be natural. Make sense? This is just to support your body so it does what it's supposed to do, which is heal and be healthy. Got it? But this is going to decrease inflammation. And last but not least, you have to, during this process of getting away from a medicine cabinet life, and I mean that metaphorically, you have to give your body a chance to do this. And everybody do it with me. Got it? Your body has to get a break. And some of you guys continue eating stuff and exposing yourself to stuff that keeps your digestive tract in a constant state of inflammation, which is why a big part of this for a lot of you guys will be doing shakes and recipes that will be easily digestible, decrease the stress on you, and your body can heal. One of the ways we do that is through a product called Maximize Living Grass-Fed Whey Protein. And you can either get chocolate or you can get vanilla in your packet today. If you're going to do a lot of shakes, now there's great shakes with chocolate. I do more shakes with vanilla than I do chocolate. But all the recipes, like I had somebody come to our house. They stayed with us during the day. They were here for an intensive. And they hadn't been to our house, and they looked at our house, and they were amazed at how many desserts we have. Raise your hand if you got a sweet tooth. This is a church. Raise your hand. Lord mercy. It's like, it's confessional here. The point is, I love desserts. So I had brownies, chocolate cake, almond bars with chocolate chips on top, chocolate pudding, and strawberry ice cream, all in the same kitchen at the same time. I just like that. But guess what? You can do that if you're doing it the right way, and it still gives your body a chance to reverse diabetes, blood pressure, heart conditions, inflammation, and that's why these are so important to this process. What you're going to get today is a 21-day process to help your body heal. That's your nutritional support to do that. Everybody got that? I'm going to go through the secret here that most people have never heard. And if you're a patient, you've heard it. I'm going to go through it quickly, but I want you to get this. It's important for me. It's about the nervous system, okay? It's important for me that you don't come away from the next half of this makeover and in your mind go, oh, good, there's a protocol for pink eye, so I can do this when I have pink eye. Oh, there's a protocol for cough. I can do this for when I have a cough. Oh, there's a protocol for whatever, ant bites or spider bites. And so I'll do that. Here's the thing. What I want you to do is I want you to live a life so that you need those things less and less. Does that make sense? And unless you're living a life like that, you're going to always be slave to needing something. And although we're giving you these protocols because I want to, when you have to have something, because we need those things too, which is why we have the protocols, I just want you to need them what? Less. Need them less. And unless you get this next thing, you are always going to have issues. You're going to always have symptoms. You're always going to have sicknesses and illnesses and infections and whatever else. And this is why people who are patients in the office are different than you guys that are guests. And let me walk through it. It's because there is a system in your body that controls every single cell, function, organ, system, hormone. What system is that? Brain and what system? Spine and nervous system, okay? Now, my whole thing was the heart. I had a heart condition. I was supposed to have a heart disease. I was supposed to have heart surgery or die. And what nobody ever told me was there was a line that connected my brain to my heart, and that needed to be checked. Can I get an amen? Right? But what people don't think about is that nervous system unless something hurts, right? So I say you've got a problem with your nervous system, and I start talking about the system that surrounds it. What's the one system in your body that surrounds your nervous system, especially centrally? It's bone. Spine. It is literally supposed to be the body armor that surrounds, protects the most intricate, critical system in your body. But when I start talking about spine issues, you hear, listen to me, you hear neck pain. When I say spine problem, you hear low back pain. When I say spinal issue and crushing, damaging nerve supply, you hear pain, numbness, tingling, scoliosis. You hear things like symptoms. Do you hear that? What I'm telling you is the majority of everybody on this planet, unless you have your spine and nervous system checked, you don't know there's an issue. Yes or no? What's the one symptom all disease has in common? What one symptom? The no symptom symptom. All disease starts with no symptoms first. Would you agree? Everybody, right? Now, this is literally the system. It connects everything. There's a guy, Roger Sperry, in 1982, and he said that your brain is literally a battery, and he won a Nobel Prize for this. He says when you move, everybody look, when you move, your movement actually, like a windmill, like this, it charges the brain. And actually 95% of the charge of the brain comes from the spine. Not your arms, not your elbows, not your hands, not your ankles. 95% comes from your spine. So if your spine starts to go bad, right, I'm not even talking pain, but you have one of those windmills, a segment in your spine that's not moving right, you decrease the charge to what? The batteries, the brain. And what he said was the more structurally distorted we are, the less energy we have for metabolism, immunity, thinking, functioning. We're talking about organs, which means if you don't have battery life charge into your organs, they don't last as long. We call this aging. We call this disease. We call this dysfunction, right? But last time you went to your doctor, what did they check? Come on, what did they check? Your blood. And they checked your blood pressure. They looked in your throat. They looked in your eyes, right? They looked at you. They weighed you, right? Guess what they didn't check if you're like most? your nervous system and your spine. And if they did, it's not that and listen, I've got a lot of doctors that come in, orthopedic surgeons, PAs, nurses, and it's not that the system is full of bad people. It's just the medical system that we have has been trained to do what? Look for actual things that are so blatant and apparent in blood tests, or a tumor coming out of your neck, or a fracture in your spine, or something like this, that when it gets to that point, we'll do something. Yes? Who would here would like to wait for that? You want to wait for that? Nobody? I don't either. What does that look like? Well, good example. The x-ray on the left is a good neck. Everybody say good neck. It's got a curve in it. Everybody say curve. This group is going down. So everybody say, I can. You're leading them a little bit fast, Richard. We got to stay the cadence there. Now, although I love it, he's the first one in. But watch this. This has got a good curve. This is what your neck should look like, okay? Now, as you're on your phone, if you've ever had an auto accident, it's a 98% chance that your spine has already proceeded into breaking down and degeneration. But this is a person who has a 30% loss. She should have a 45-degree curve. She's got a 29-degree curve. Everybody go like this with your hand. Everybody, like this. If you've got a curve in your hand, then your spinal cord is relaxed on the inside. But if you start to straighten that out, straighten your hand out like this, what's happening to the skin? Tightens up, it stretches. Guess what they gave the neurosurgeon for finding that happens? A Nobel Prize. So I try to do that every talk, and it's never worked for me. I've never got a prize. But this is it, right? Now, good example of that is this. This is actually a very young child, and what are all kids on nowadays? Just so that mom and dad don't have to mess with them if they're running around. Say it. Phone, iPad, whatever. So kids literally are head down hours, 4 to 6 hours a day, right? Now, what's happened? This is a neutral position. What's wrong with that kid's neck? What's it physically doing to his nerve supply? Crushing pressure. Now, would it make sense the kid his health potential is down? Would you agree with that? Right? Now, would his medical doctor or nurse friend or their cousin who is a whatever medical specialist, would they have said anything about that? Is there any fractures there? Any pathology there? No, it's just a straight neck. Now, it is reversed, and it's starting to actually cause degenerative arthritis in a kid that's actually less than the age of 10. But now watch. Comes into us, what do I see? I see an extremely serious situation. Who heals faster, kids or us? Kids start adjusting them. Now, the difference is, some of you guys that don't know about chiropractic, there's chiropractors that treat symptoms, and it's 90% of chiropractors. So when I say chiropractic, most of you guys hear what? Pain management, back pain, headaches, neck pain, this stuff. That's not what we do in the office. And I love you. I want you to feel great, but I will never put my hands on you just so that you feel better. It's so that we put our hands on you so we correct structurally your spine and keep it that way. This kid started getting adjusted, and in 2 months, there's his neck. Is that better? Now, it's better, but it's not great, is it? Right? Guess what happened to his asthma? Gone. He was going to the emergency room about every 6 to 8 weeks with ear infections. Guess what happened to the ear infections? Gone. Now, does it mean he doesn't have to come to get adjusted anymore? No, we're going to get this thing better and better. But he doesn't have to see me as often. The whole goal is, listen, a real doctor sees you for the purpose of seeing you less because you need them less. That's success. A real doctor has the purpose of seeing you so you get off medications, not get on medications, right? And so this kid kept getting adjusted. Now the kid got to hear. Now they're in twice a month. Guess what happened to asthma? Guess what happened to allergies? Guess what happened to ear infections? Guess what happened to allergy medications? Guess what happened to wetting the bed at night? All of these things are gone. Which do you think is going to happen? Fast forward 10 years from now, is the kid healthier or sicker? This is a kid who has had ADHD symptoms. Do you think he's going to be medicated for that? No. Who wants that for their children? Everybody does. But I wrap it up in the box of chiropractic, and you try to give it to somebody that's got kids, and you're like, well, right? It's just this simple, though. Everybody watch. Think about the last time. Now, this is a video. Watch this. Watch the neck. The last time you were on your phone and you spent 30 minutes on Facebook. You laid in bed at night and your head's on a pillow. You drive in your car, your seat's back a little bit and your head is off the headrest, so you're leaning forward like this. What's that do over the years? It's pressure and time, pressure and time, pressure and time. What's happening? It's destroying that person's nervous system. Not just their nervous system, their spine, but their spine destroys, their nervous system is destroyed. Do you see it? Now look at that. The worse it gets, the faster it gets worse. And every single person in this room, you were taught that that's just what happens when you get what? Old. But if I could keep your spine in a position where there was no more pressure on one joint than the other, guess how long your spine lasts? As long as you do. In fact, whenever you go home to be with the Lord, all your organs basically stop at the same time. Instead of you being 40 and your heart giving out, or you being 53 and your colon having cancer, or your prostate, or whatever else. Make sense? Right? That's the difference. And I know it sounds like the Matrix. I have people go, well, yeah, that makes sense, but why didn't my doctor what? It's just because they don't know. But your brain is a battery. If you don't keep it charged, you will pay a price, and the only way to know if it's charging is to actually get it checked, okay? Good example of that is this. Who here would go to a chiropractor for diabetes? Nobody, right? Watch this. This guy came in, 2 insulin shots a day, every day. In fact, they say once you're diabetic, what? Always diabetic, glucophage, metformin, comes in. Now, is all we're going to do is adjust his spine? No, we're also going to change his diet. But I adjusted him the first time I ever adjusted his spine. Guess what happened to his insulin? He decreased his insulin usage by 50% with one adjustment. Now, it's not because he changed his diet, it's because we corrected his nerve supply. But I'm not just going to crack his neck, I'm going to start adjusting him, right, and correct his spine. Raise your hand, patients, if that made sense to you when you came in, right? Now, watch this. Go here, go about 3 months. What do you see? Is it better? Guess what happened to his glucophage and metformin? Guess what happened to pricking his finger every day? Gone. Guess what happened to his insulin? Guess what happened to his copays at his endocrinologist? I really love that part too, by the way. I'm probably off the Christmas card list of all the doctors in town, but when patients get results, I love it, okay? But it's just as simple. Your body is set up, and it's got nerves that go to every place. And actually, you can look at the spine like a fuse box to see where it's going, right? For instance, women that come in that have issues with the neck, very commonly they have what? Problems with what organ right here with metabolism? Thyroid problems. Their energy goes down, they start gaining weight, and they say, well, maybe just start gaining weight the older you get. Not the case. So, Isaías, you came in the office. Tell us what was going on before you came in the office.
¿Qué pasó antes de que llegara a la oficina?
Cuando llegué a la oficina fui para que el doctor me chequeara porque estaba de los pulmones. Tenía me iban a hacer una operación. Y cuando llegué el doctor me dio de estos.
El oxígeno.
Sí, también tenía oxígeno antes de que viniera aquí al doctor y ya no traigo oxígeno ahorita y ha sido.
So when I first came to the office, he was on a lung transplant list. His lung was not working. He was taking about 16 medication, and he was carrying a tank of oxygen all the time.
Yeah, so you came in, and we addressed your spine, and we found, what do we find in your spine?
¿Qué encontramos en la radiografía cuando las vio?
Estaba todo detenido, estaba chueca
Yeah. So the extras were not good. They were crooked. There were a lot of pressure on the nerves when he saw them.
Yeah. So we began the process of doing what? Not cracking his spine. Listen, do I treat disease? Yes or no? No, we do not treat disease. But what we do is, one thing we do really well is we get somebody well again. Okay? And so we started to remove anything and everything from him that kept him from being well. And so good. I think he's hearing it too here because he's got his translator on. So tell us what happened. So we started the process of correcting that. You went several months now. It's almost a year now. And tell us what's happened now. What are the results now being under care?
¿Cuáles son los resultados ahora?
Me siento mejor. Los resultados están. Fui al doctor y he tenido muy bien resultados.
Yeah, all the results are better. I feel a whole lot better. ¿Cuántos medicamentos tomando?
Tomaba como 16 medicamentos. Ahorita nada más tomo 2. Y dejé el oxígeno también.
Yeah, he went from 16 medications, so he's only taking 2 right now, and he doesn't have to carry his oxygen tank anymore.
Amen. And the lung transplant list?
Yeah. No more surgery. He's off the transplant list.
So beautiful. Now, so are you back to working?
No trabajo, estoy deshabilitado. Pero hago el trabajo en la casa.
So he's working at his house. One thing he forgot to mention was his liver kidney functions. He had about 20-30%, and now he had a node that says he's 100% with his kidneys too.
Kidneys back. So this is it. All right, so big round of applause. Gracias, amigo. Gracias. Good. All right, so how many people, though, think that your nervous system, in correcting that, would have a major impact on your health? And I can tell you the majority of people just don't ever think that way. Most people don't think that you carrying a purse, ladies, on the same side every day, creating a high shoulder because otherwise it runs off, is linked to your fibrocystic breast and breast health, lung health, heart health, blood pressure, immunity, hormone changes like this. Or guys, because you've been sitting in a chair like this so long that change in your low back is affected to lower testosterone, weight gain, lower energy, less focus, decreased muscle mass, less vitality, if you will, issues with performance or whatever else. Like most people don't think those things are related, and that's why we're talking today. Also, something else. Holden, come here. This is going to be good. So Donna came in the office a couple years ago, 3 years ago? 4 years ago. Time goes by fast when you're having fun. So she came in the office. So tell us what's going on before you came in the office.
Oh, I was in sad shape. I would have 1 to 3 headaches a week, some of which would send me to the emergency room vomiting.
Raise your hand if you've ever had a migraine. Raise your hand if you've had a migraine. Yes, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah, and once I started throwing up, I would have to go straight to the emergency room. That was the only thing that could be done. They would medicate me, send me home, and I felt after the drugs wore off, of course, I felt terrible. And that was my life, one emergency situation to the next. I was seeing about at least 10 different doctors. I had gone to 5 different chiropractors. And so when Bonnie and Ed told me about Dr. Erb, I declined to go to any of the dinners. And Dr. Erb came to our church, and of course I had a migraine that day.
So yeah, I came to her because she wouldn't come to me.
I am a stubborn person, yes.
Any other skeptics here? I'm a skeptic. Any other skeptics? I'm a skeptic.
Yes.
Come on, this is a church. I'm telling you what, we're going to have a confession after. Anyway, so we came to her church, and she'd already been to chiropractors, so it probably wasn't something you wanted to do.
And they weren't helping me, so I thought, what is different about this? And Bonnie and Ed had called me before the sinus surgery, said, please don't have the surgery. Come to Dr. Erb, and I just declined, and I blew them off. I had the surgery instead. It was one of the worst mistakes I've ever made, and my health just declined, and I started having horrible migraines and out of control. And he came to church and had a migraine that day, but the next week I felt good enough to go to church, and Dr. Erb was there, and I met him, and I said, what do I have to lose? Let's go in and get checked, and it's changed my life totally.
So we came and we found something on your x-rays that nobody found
That's
before.
right, and all the doctors, they never pinpointed anything, and Dr. Erb just in black and white told me this is why you're ill. It made sense to me, and the first doctor that gave me any answers was Dr. Erb, and that's what I was looking for, the root cause of my problem, and he did that, and I feel tremendous.
So we corrected your spine, but watch, this is the cool stuff. How were your workouts before you met me?
Vacuuming.
Yeah. So she would vacuum, and she'd be down for, I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I could do. I couldn't
vacuumed.
work out. If I did work out, that's when I would start throwing up, and I would go to the emergency room.
So now,
I can work out harder than my children.
So she's got teenage girls.
They can't keep up with me.
And she's outrunning her teenage girls now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And so how many meds are you on?
I'm on nothing. I don't even take Advil, 0. All my steroids, everything, gone.
Good. So does your medicine count look a little different?
Yeah, essential oils and
good.
coconut oil.
Coconut oil, stuff like this. Well, and here's the other thing. Do you feel like you're living a life different than a lot of people around you?
Absolutely.
That's
It makes
good.
me sad because so many people have misinformation and they just don't know the truth. And that's why I'm so zealous for Dr. Erb and Erb Family Wellness, because I had a chance to go and I blew it off. And if you're on the fence, even if you don't have problems now, if you're on the fence, just go. What do you have to lose? Just go. Don't wait till your health is in the toilet like I did. And then I was just on the bottom and I was very ill. And don't wait till your health is completely gone before you go to Dr. Erb. Go now.
Awesome.
And that's my best words of wisdom.
Good. All right. Big round of applause. Thank you. Love you. That was awesome.
We're gonna hit on nutrition. I just want to make sure by way of review, we hit a lot of different medications, right? So you guys hit on, blood pressure, cholesterol, right? Was that a big eye opener? Like as far as your spine is concerned and your cholesterol and your brain, your nerve system, that was a really big one, right? And so we're going to now unpack a little bit, make sure you've got this handy so you can actually keep on taking some notes on this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on nutrition because I have so much to cover today. I'm going to go through some more protocols for you guys. I'm going to hit on some of the cutting edge testing and why we do it and what we're doing it for. But the big thing that you want to make sure you understand about nutrition is that if you are that person or you have been that person that's been taking medication and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to have to keep taking a couple of these. I want to work on not having to take a couple of these. What are some of the other action steps that I need to be able to do so that my body can actually be healthier And when you go back to your doctor starts to see that your levels look better, your blood pressure looks better, right? That's really what we're looking for, is to see that our body is actually starting to heal. One of the things we hit on was our nerve supply, right? So without a clear functioning nerve supply, we're not going to be able to have all of our organs, cells, and tissues heal the way that they need to. The third thing we're going to hit on, like we're doing right now, is nutrition. So with nutrition, indications you may need this plan. I'm going to talk about what is this plan. This plan's called the advanced plan. I want you guys to think of the advanced plan as the healing plan. Everybody say healing plan. Healing. Say it again, healing plan. Healing. Okay, so who needs the healing plan? That's really what you want to be thinking about. What is the healing plan? We're going to unpack that. That'll be my next slide. Like what are the foods that I'm eating? What are the foods I'm not eating on this healing plan? The resources that you'll be looking for will be these books that you'll see right here on the front of this table right here. But indications if you need the advanced healing plan would be if you are that person that's been on a triglyceride medication, right? You know you have high triglycerides, or maybe a cholesterol like Dr. David just talked about, right? So cholesterol medication, a blood pressure, if you have high blood pressure or you're taking medication for high blood pressure, blood sugar, insulin, and leptin. If you are that person, then that would be the reason why you would want to make sure you follow the advanced healing plan, okay? So you can imagine that the foods that you would be eating on something called a healing plan would probably be foods that are actually healthy, right? And we'll want to probably pull some of the things that are actually creating a lot of inflammation and disease in your body. So what would we say, we probably can agree, would be maybe that #1 food that we might want to stay away from that is probably against the healing plan? Sugar, okay. Let's stay there for a second. So if sugar would be, we can all agree, would be that #1 food that we would want to make sure that we take out of our diet so that we can actually be healthy and actually overcome some of these things, then we want to think about what are all the foods that we eat that turn to sugar, right? So there's a lot of foods that we can understand that are sugar right away. Like we could probably agree that a Dr. Pepper, right? A candy bar, right? We can probably agree on those things, and those are pretty simple to understand. But what about the foods that turn to sugar? What about your bagels? Does that make you feel a little like, oh no? It's a bad food? Is that what you just said? Good girl. That's my daughter right there. You want to teach, baby? Okay, so bagels. What about the bagels? What about your noodles? What about your pasta? Oh wait, what about your tortillas? Oh man, everybody's booing me off the stage right now, right? My tortillas. Hey, there's a new company out called Siete, and they actually are making tortillas for people who are following, the people in the company. They actually started the company because one of the family members had one of these things right here, and she needed the healing plan. So they're out of Austin. Siete means 7, so there's 7 family members, and they started this company. They started making tortillas, so look out for that, right? And they're going to be non-grain tortillas. So you're going to start to see some things. The chips that you saw back there, I know you probably all thought we had lost our mind, right? Right? The chips were the company named Siete. And so they're all grainless, flourless chips, right? So you can start to find, I'm so excited because I see people, you know, even patients that are actually learning this stuff and they're applying it in their own lives, and now they actually have vendor booths back there and they're actually creating products, you know, to be able to help them and help other people. I just love that. That is so exciting to me. So we said things that turn to sugar. We had bagels, we had tortillas, we had noodles. What else is something we eat, maybe a lot of, that turns to sugar? Who said rice? Okay, rice, that's exactly right. Even, quote, healthy rice turns to sugar, right? So what else? Somebody said bread, right? So even bread, right? So turns to sugar. So this is what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the healing plan. We're talking about foods that we eat that actually turn to sugar that we want to be looking at, removing and replacing, okay? So go back to indications if you need this plan that we're talking about. if you're a person who knows that you have a toxicity issue, if you have an inflammatory disease of some kind, if you have allergies, right? If you have allergies, it's a much simpler step than what Dr. David showed with all the symptoms up there, right? I know that's like a one pill type of thing, but you're not going to have all the side effects like liver failure and things like that. When you actually follow something like the advanced plan, you're actually healing, okay? Arthritis. Arthritis is another one of those things that you would want to follow the healing plan for. You know, many of you probably have met Dr. David's mom, right? She's been at a lot of the makeovers, and she talks about how her arthritis was so bad. You know, she was in her late 60s, and she couldn't even, like, turn the doorknob, you know? And so she went through the advanced plan, and literally, she's 70 years old right now training for her first marathon. Now, somebody who can't hardly use their hands and turn the doorknob, who actually follows the 5 essentials and starts following this healing plan, now is actually training for her first marathon. She did that by following this. And so 70, you're not dead when you're 70, right? There's still a lot of room for healing that you can take place in your body. The next thing, if you have an autism spectrum disorder, if you have cancer, what food does cancer love? And makes more cancer. So sugar is cancer cells' favorite food, and it makes us duplicate more cancer cells. Why in the world would we eat foods that make cancer happy, right? We don't want to do that. We want to starve cancer, right? We want to kill cancer cells, and we want to build healthier cells, right? Chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. Usually that sugar gives you an initial first burst of energy, right? When you have sugar, a lot of times when people have low energy, they just want to eat sugar, right? And it'll give you that first initial burst of energy with a trailing of low energy later, right? Heart disease. So if you have been diagnosed with any type of heart disease, then we would want to follow the healing plan. Everybody say healing plan. Okay, healing plan. Digestive dysfunction. Any type of digestive dysfunction. If you have a digestive dysfunction, maybe you have bacteria in your gut, right? Maybe you have parasites or some sort of weird critters in your gut. I know that sounds gross, but I talk about poop, and I'm going to talk about critters, okay? So maybe you have some of that stuff in your digestive tract. And so if you have that in your digestive tract, then you don't want to feed that sugar, because then you're going to make more of them. You're going to make them stay and make them happy. What we want to do is we want to have good, healthy gut flora, probiotics, right? And we don't want to have the bad stuff and feed those critters sugar, because they'll stay around and they'll duplicate. Obesity, if you have a grain intolerance, if you have a focus problem, right? A lot of people are being diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of school kids would not have this diagnosis if we would stop soda cans and, you know, bribing the kids to answer questions in the classroom with candy. If we would stop that, then we would not be propagating a focus problem and then putting our kids on medications. That right there irritates me to no end. I have 3 kids, they're all in a school, and that is part of their thing. Bring candy to school the first day of school, you know, so that we can bribe your kids to answer the questions correctly. Meanwhile, my son gets his first cavity. He's never had a cavity before. And I'm like, so he gets a cavity on the side of his tooth. I'm like, how do you get a cavity on the side of your tooth, Zach? He's just looking at me like, how can I tell her this? And I said, so did you have the piece of candy in the side of your mouth all day? How did you know, Mom? I'm like, I wasn't born yesterday, you know? But this is the kind of stuff that we're doing in all the classrooms. It's not just our school. It's in every school, right? And we've got to actually be a louder voice talking about this, because our kids don't need to be on these medications. They need us to be engaged and involved in this. They need to be in this, right? And so the next thing, mental emotional disorders. Again, why would you give sugar to someone with mental emotional disorders? All you're doing is you're causing them to have extreme highs and extreme lows, right? You're creating an imbalance there. And then again, medications. So many people will find that when they go through this process and they follow what we call the advanced plan, that their body will heal. They'll go in and get their numbers checked with their doctors, and suddenly they no longer have high blood pressure. They no longer have blood sugar imbalance. They no longer have arthritis. you'll start to see these things happen. Now, will it be easy? Is it going to be easy? For those of you who have done the advanced plan, was it easy? Is it worth it? You are going to pay one way or another. You are either going to pay by buying organic GMO food and actually learning how to cook, right? You're going to pay either that way or you're going to pay with a health crisis over here. And let me tell you, this is an exponentially larger number, right? So it's not easy, but it's worth it. And that's why we're here, to be able to help you guys get that. So we're going to follow that. A couple of the changes that you want to make sure we hit grains. We've hit the 3 basic changes, okay? So if you're going to follow the advanced plan, you want to leave here today and know the 3 basic changes. The first one is the sugar and carbohydrates. You're going to eliminate grains. That means the tortillas, the bread, the oatmeal, all that, all grains. You're going to eliminate sugars and fruit except for berries, grapefruit, and Granny Smith apples. Why only those fruits? They have a lower glycemic index. Man, that's right. I love that. Good job, Kristen. They have a lower glycemic index. That just means they have a lower amount of sugar, right? Because, listen, if I give you a piece of watermelon and I give you a blueberry, which one makes you want a whole bunch more? The watermelon, right? The blueberry, I mean, you're going to want to eat a whole bunch of watermelon because it has a higher sugar content, right? So even healthy grains rapidly turn to sugar. So the grains you want to focus on would be, it's not really a grain, it's not a grain, but things that actually you could use instead of would be almond flour and coconut flour and flax meal. Those are all good replacements. So you can start learning some of these recipes. You can make breads, you can make things like that, but you actually would use it nut butter, nut flours you would do instead. The second change you would want to make is replace conventional protein sources with natural protein sources. That means what? How is the animal raised? It's grass-fed, right? It doesn't have any hormones injected in it, no antibiotics, no vaccines. It's naturally raised, right? So just start looking at the packaging. You'll start to see natural grocers. You can pretty much count on everything there is going to be awesome, okay? So you can go in there and you can get good meat there. You can go to Costco. They have a whole range of organic stuff now. You can go to Sprouts. You can go to the local farmer's market. I love supporting local farms, right? And so you can get your natural protein sources that way. The third thing you want to do is remove bad fats and replace them with good ones, okay? Remove bad fats and replace them with good ones. So that means, what oil should you not be cooking with? Canola, what's the other name for it? Wesson oil, vegetable oil, right? That kind of stuff. So you don't want to be cooking with that. You don't give it away to somebody, just throw it away, because it's not good for anything, right? So you want to get rid of that, and you want to have a lot of healthy fats. So what are some of the good healthy fats? Because a lot of times we don't know what those are. Olive oil, coconut oil. So those will be the oils that you could cook with, right? There's avocado oil as well, right? Right? Grapeseed oil, it's another good one, right? So what other foods have good fats in them? Avocados, nuts and seeds. Now, not the ones with M&Ms in the package, though. Come on. I just spoiled some of your snacks. Right? So raw nuts and seeds, right? Nut butter, so cashew butter, right? Almond butter, those types of things, okay? So those are going to be the things that you want to replace on that. Now, one of the things that I do as far as one of the cutting-edge tests, a lot of people texted us a lot of questions about it, about the metabolics plan. The metabolics plan is actually a blood and a urine test. That's going to be the last giveaway that we do today, okay? It's a test that you take home, and you take a sample of your own blood and your own urine, and then what we do is we send it in the company, and we get it back in about 2 weeks. And if you have been following the advanced plan, there will be nowhere to hide, because we'll know. Because your test results will tell me, right? But in all seriousness, what if you had been following it, and you think you've been following it really well, but the test results come back, and the test tells me that there's some sort of crazy toxin that you didn't know you got exposed to? I'll see it, right? Or maybe a digestive problem. Maybe there's a fungus, maybe there's a bacteria. We'll be able to see it. I can see ulcerative colitis. I can see irritable bowel. I can see leaky gut on this test. And so some of you actually have these digestive disorders and you don't know it, and you're eating perfect and you're frustrated, right? You're like, I'm doing everything right, but I'm still frustrated. And so that's what these tests are really, really powerful for. It has a cancer marker on there, right? It has autoimmune markers, right? So you can see if you have autoimmune disorder, and then it'll get you specifics on what foods you need to be eating a whole lot more of, right? Some of you may be following advanced plan, but you don't like spinach, you don't like kale, and you don't like a lot of these things that are, quote, things you should be having, right? So you want to test. Just make sure you test to verify if what you're doing is working for you, okay? That's very important. Now, getting into essential number 4, we call that maximizing oxygen and lean muscle here, essential 4. Now, the most common thing that I see among patients that I take care of that have a diagnosis of cancer is that they don't sweat. Now, think about it. They don't sweat. If a patient has cancer and they don't sweat, can you see how that could be a good reason why you might develop a diagnosis like that? Sweat is so key critical. You have to be able to dump off toxins. If you don't sweat and dump off toxins, there's a couple things at play here. Number 1, either you're not exercising hard enough. That could be one thing, right? Number 2, maybe there's a hormonal imbalance that you're exercising and you can't quite, get yourself to sweat, or some sort of toxic exposure. Or number 3, maybe you're in such bad shape physically, you just can't exercise or exercise hard enough because your joints are in such bad shape, right? That's the reason why we actually put a hyperbaric oxygen chamber in our office. That chamber right there, because your body is made up of mostly, about 75% water, right? What happens when you get in the chamber is it takes oxygen that is normally a gas, and under pressure, it puts it to a liquid. So if you take oxygen and you saturate your 70% fluid in your body, you're not breathing in a bunch of oxygen like you would if you had an oxygen tank. Your body is swimming in oxygen. Can you see the difference? If you're swimming in oxygen like that, it is one of the essentials for your body to be able to heal. They actually used to have a hyperbaric hospital. Now, drug companies came in and took it apart. They crashed it. They totally trashed it. But they actually used to have a hyperbaric hospital, and people would go into the hospital and they would stay for weeks on end. They would come in with diabetes. They would be taken care of and eaten really good and literally sleeping in a hyperbaric hospital. So they're sleeping under this pressure 24/7. They would leave with no more diabetes. Now, wouldn't that be kind of an incredible thing, like if we did something like that? Think about how healthcare would change, right? Just think about that. Some of these tools that are right at our fingertips, right? So we made sure that we had that available for our folks who actually have a crisis and they need to make sure they're getting oxygen to be able to heal, but they can't hit exercise that hard, right? Because the difference with a max T3 type exercise and what a lot of people are doing is they're getting on the treadmill, and they're moving this fast and they got a book and they're turning the pages, right? How many of you done that? And you said, check, I got my workout for the day, right? Yeah. Am I sucking a lot of oxygen when I do that? But if I got on that same treadmill and I hit it, I turned it up to like 7 or 7.5, and I ran for like 20 seconds, and then I jumped off to the side and I just leaned down and I just couldn't catch my breath. I'm like, right? Am I sucking in a lot of oxygen there? Right, that's the difference between those two types of exercise. Some of us can't do the other one though, right? Or you got to get in shape to get there. So that's the reason why hyperbaric is so critical. We have people getting their joints back, the joints were decaying. We have people getting their kidneys back or their kidney function is shutting down. We have people with dementia, they get in there and they get oxygen to the brain, they're actually getting their memory back. We have people with cancer, they get in there and their body actually begins to heal because we said a second ago when we talked about cancer, we said, what food do you feed your body that makes more cancer? And you guys all said what? Well, what do cancer cells hate? They hate what? They hate oxygen, right? And what happens is you make more healthy cells. So then you get this army kind of fighting against each other, right? And you're killing off those bad cancer cells, and you're building an army of good healthy cells because you saturate your body with oxygen. Can you guys all get this? You good? Okay. The reason why we have the far infrared sauna is because the sauna is very powerful. It actually, because of the way the rays are, it actually penetrates at 1.5 to 2 inches. 1.5 to 2 inches, so it actually helps to lose weight, right? It helps you to sweat, it helps you to lose weight, and it helps you to detox. If you're one of those people that didn't sweat, that was me after my third baby. I couldn't sweat, so I was exercising, I was trying to hit it really hard, and it didn't matter what I did, I wasn't sweating. So that's when we actually got the far infrared sauna, and I started sitting in there every single day, and I think it took me about 3 weeks, believe it or not. 3 weeks, I got up to 130 degrees, which is the maximum you want to get to. So I built up to 130 degrees in there, and finally, after 3 weeks, I began to sweat, right? So if you're not sweating, you're keeping the toxins in your body, and what you're doing is you're building disease. So that was a really important thing for me, and that's why I started to do that. Now, I'm dumping toxins. I sweat really well, but that was a thing that I used to be able to help jumpstart that issue for me, and actually help me to detox as well. So one of the other really amazing cutting-edge tests that we do in the office I'm so excited about is the full-body thermography. How many of you have had a thermography before, right? So the full-body thermography is unbelievable. It is a painless, no pain at all, and the information that you get from being able to do a thermography is testing all of your organs. I mean, how many of you would like to know, like, what are all your organs doing and how are they working? I can't tell you the number of people who have come in to see me. We do a thermography. They come in. I actually have people who do the thermography. Most of the time they do it because they want to make sure the breast health is good. So females will come in and do it. But I have people come in. I had this lady come in and she told me she had a mass on her breast. And sure enough, you know, I checked, yes, you have a mass on your breast. We did the thermography. And what we found out, she was actually scheduled to go in and have her breasts removed. And after we did the thermography, what we found out was her breast wasn't the problem. Remember, we're all about cause, right? So she was manifesting symptoms in her breasts, but the real issue was in her teeth. She actually had an abscessed tooth that was developing and building an infection inside her, and the infection was following its natural route. And its natural route on that particular tooth was her breast. So the infection actually went right where it needed to go. It followed the natural route the body did. The issue wasn't the breast, but the breast was actually showing and expressing the symptom. Does that make sense? So you don't always want to listen to your symptoms. They will lie to you, okay? That's why you want to do and you want to verify. You want to do the blood and the urine. You want to get your x-rays done, and you want to do tests like the full-body thermography, because if you have an issue like that, you'd rather take care of the tooth than cut your breasts off, yes? That's what she did. She went in and she took care of it. She had a previous bridge done in one of her teeth, serious infection in one of her teeth. She went in, had the dentist go through, clean that tooth up and everything, and sure enough, the mass went away on her breast, and no longer did she have the mass. Saved her breast, right? Super, super incredible testimonies like that all the time. I have people in there that come. I had one lady come in to see me, and she said, the doctor told me I had ovarian cancer. I said, okay, well, let's check you out. And when she came in to see me, I said, no, you don't have ovarian. It's not the ovaries that's the issue. It's your digestive system. She was packed full of serious, crazy, severe bacteria in her digestive system. And so what was happening is, since it's so close to the female organs, it was actually seeping into her female-related organs. And so they were finding it on that because they never really tested her digestion. And so once we clean that up, you see, you clean up the cause, and then where the body is actually manifesting symptoms, the body can actually heal. Do you guys get that? Does that make sense? I mean, this is just life transforming, you guys. So this is the full body thermography. Now I have a test, a pre and post test, and here's what I like to do with them. You can use it as a kind of a full body scan, male or female. In fact, I had a guy come to see me get his full body thermography done a couple months ago, maybe about 2 months ago, came to see me. He found us. He lives in another state. He came in, and we did the full body thermography on him, and through the process of doing the thermography, we found out some other things that he had going on that was contributing to some serious depression that he had. And so when we went through that process, now it's amazing how the guy is like getting his life back. Like he's getting his marriage back. He's feeling like a better father to his kids. And that's all because he just came in and did the thermography, right? Like this is changing families. And so this pre and post is powerful. It would be a pre and post for the prostate for the guys, but this pre and post for the girls, you can see on the left, just by you not even necessarily knowing how to read the test, you guys can see the image, right? You can see there's a whole lot more going on the left than you can on the right. But even if you look down at the chart and you look at that graph along the bottom, can you see a whole lot more red on the left as opposed to the right? The red actually talks about 3 areas that were very severe in this person's body. The orange would be an area that is moderate. So that means these are not things that we actually, we blow off. We get very focused, we get very serious about them, and we go through the process that I take you through the 5 essentials. And then what you do is after 3 months, if it's serious like that, or 6 months, we retest. Now, is this person getting better on the right? Can you see the difference? We did have 3 severe and 1 moderate. Now we have 1 severe and no moderate. Is this person moving in the direction of getting their health back? That's right. That's what we use this for. I like to do a regular scan. Some people do just like a yearly instead of their mammogram. They would actually do a thermography instead. So we can do a yearly. If your test comes back and there's something on there, then what we do is we actually use it as a tool to see if what we're doing, what we recommend, is actually working for you, right? We verify that what we're doing and the actions that we're taking are actually promoting our healing, okay? Now, in getting into hand sanitizer, so funny. This hand sanitizer thing, this is everywhere, right? I mean, it's in all of the schools, all the hospitals, right? They thought they were doing a good thing by putting hand sanitizers everywhere, right? The heart and the intent is in the right place, right? However, we're not looking at the fine print and seeing that this stuff has triclosan in it, which is immediately absorbed into your liver, destroys your hormones, and now, look, we're actually causing hay fever and allergies in kids. You see that? So there are other alternatives. We actually have on the table back there, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, we have Young Living on the table in the back, where they actually, a lot of people said they have essential oils in their cabinet, right? Young Living actually has a hand sanitizer as well. And so we actually use this in all of our treatment rooms, and it's got thieves as its base, and it doesn't have these terrible toxins in it. So it's a wonderful product. I even think we have some on the table if you want to try some. The next thing, protocol-wise, we're going to kind of climb into some protocols right now, okay, guys? Charcoal protocol is another one. Charcoal should be in everybody's medicine cabinet, okay? We need to come up with a new word. I hate that word. What are we going to call it? Yeah, our healing cabinet. There we go. I like that. Much better. Medicine cabinet. So we got to make sure we have things like charcoal in our healing cabinet, right? So charcoal is used in hospitals, right? So if you come in and you have a drug overdose or you've drank too much or something like that, they would actually pump you full of a bunch of charcoal. And what that does is it actually soaks up all the alcohol, soaks up whatever the toxin is, and you actually live, okay? That's the whole point. So charcoal is for food poisoning, stomach viruses, severe diarrhea, or maybe alcohol overdose, okay? You drink too much alcohol on the weekend, you party too much or something like that. I'm not telling any of you to do that, but let's just say you did. Then you'd want to make sure you have that around and you take some bind so that it can soak that all up, okay? So that's a charcoal protocol. Vitamin D mega dosage, okay? Very, very important, this mega dosage protocol. the #1 vitamin that you can take to prevent cancer by 77%, as long as you are in range on your blood test. Can't just take it and just know you're in range. You got to make sure you're in range on your blood test. So if you have had a blood test done, or you're going in to get labs done, don't ever skip out and get your vitamin D tested. That's a critical test to have done. If you don't have a place to go and get this done, we have test kits in the office. You can pick them up. You just take a little sample of your blood, send it in. A week later, we get your results back, right? So very, very important to make sure you're in range. Now, this should go on your notes right now. The range for vitamin D to be at the 77%, who knows the answer? Who knows the answer? I'm going to question you right now. Who knows it? 90. Who said that? 90. 70 to 90. You're getting a vitamin D. You're getting a vitamin D, Rebecca. We need a vitamin D up here, okay? 70 to 90 is the range that you should be. Sort of like a report card. Think about it as, 70 to 80 is in the C range, 80 to 90 is in the B range, 90 to 100 is in the A range, right? Your test results should say you are in that range. If you are not in that range, then you are allowing your body to develop and build all kinds of disease. Cancer is just one of them, okay? So the protocol is 1,000 IUs per pound of body weight. Depends on how much you weigh. So if I get your test results back and you're at 40, let's say most people I'm seeing around under 30, and we're in sunshiny Texas, so we're just not getting the sunshine that we need, right? So let's just say your test result comes back and you are under that range. Then what you would do is you would mega dosage. You would take 1,000 IUs per pound of body weight for 3 days. Then you would retest and you'd be in range. Then what you want to do is maintain that. So you maintain that by taking 1 to 2 capsules depending upon the time of year it is. And also depending upon the amount of sun exposure that you get. Okay, if you're a person that you just know you're not going to get sun no matter what time of year it is, then you probably want to stay on the 10,000 IUs, which would be 2 capsules a day. Okay, now here's something really important. I was going to hit on, well, I'm going to come back in just a second. I'll hit that in a second. The cough protocol is next. So the cough protocol, I think almost everybody has maybe heard about this one. If you've been in our office and you've had some sort of coughing jag, like we've kind of a lot of people have had with allergies and things like that. You want to repeat this 5 times a day, and these are kind of some of the things you want to have. Vitamin A is a really important thing. You want to have the micellized vitamin A, and you want to have a coconut mixture. I recommend that you get like a little container, and you make a couple of these mixtures. Okay, you get your essential oils. You get the startup pack from Young Living if you haven't done this yet, which I'll show you how to do that, and that's in the back table. But get the startup packet, get yourself a little container, and fill it with coconut oil, and then put some drops of peppermint in it. Just keep it around the house. And then what you do is you rub it along your chest, and you rub it along your spine. Okay? That actually helps to open things up, help you to breathe. I actually also put it right here underneath your nose. Okay, so you're breathing that in, it opens everything up for you. So that's a really good protocol that you can follow, and then followed by the warm chamomile tea. You get the peppermint oil right under your nose, you got the hot tea, and you're breathing in the fumes of the hot tea in your nose and drinking it. It just amplifies the effect, okay? Really, really good protocol. You can see a diffuser is another really good thing. And then a humidifier. In the times of year when it's really dry and we first start turning the heat on in our house and everything gets really, really dry, humidify. Just already have when you know you're about to have to turn the heater on in your house, it's a good idea just to go ahead and preemptively have your humidifier going and fill it up with water, because you're going to notice right away issues. That's when you notice me kind of lose my voice once a year. That's always that time. And so you want to make sure you get that air moist and start turning on your humidifier. After dental work, this one comes up a lot in my office. We have dental work, we go in and we have dental work and we want to know what do we do, or maybe we're having an issue with our teeth or our gums. These are 3 really important things to keep around your house for your gums and for your teeth. Silver psyllin spray, which is like God's natural antibiotic. It's fantastic. In fact, you can use it. I have the pink eye protocol. You can spray it straight in your eye. That silver psyllin, you keep that in your cabinet. And then thieves spray is really good to kill bacteria. So it's a healthy way to, if you have an infection in your teeth, spray that on there, kill that bacteria, keep that clean. And then you can also rub some clove oil on there. That's another really good thing you can do for your teeth, okay? Keep that stuff around. And at the end, you're going to be able to download that protocol from our ebooks. You'll be able to see that here shortly. Urinary tract infection, I use this one all the time. And we have so many people that actually use this product a lot. And so urinary tract infection, you'll want to follow this protocol for about a week. UT Synergy, and you'll want about quadruple the dosage of it every day for about a week. And it has in there a product, one of its ingredients is an amino acid, and the amino acid that's in it is actually helpful to killing the bacteria in the urinary tract. Now we want to make sure we're getting adjusted, right? So we have a clear nerve supply, right? And then this is the other thing that we want to make sure that we're doing so that we can help our body to heal from this. No sugar, why? Because bacteria like what? They like sugar. So if you have bacteria in your urinary tract, then you don't want to be feeding more bacteria and keeping them there, so you got to take the sugar out. And yes, that does include the cranberry juice. Now I did hear that there was some cranberry juice that had absolutely, like it's bitter, kind of like a bitter, that would probably be okay, that would be okay. But most of the cranberry juice that we're buying is actually the stuff that has all the sugar in it. So we want to stay away from that. Tons of water and get adjusted. Those are really, really important things to do for UT. The pink eye, like I was saying earlier, my kids have had this. In fact, this protocol is so powerful. My daughter was going in for school pictures. She just started this school, and she had school pictures. And school pictures were on a Thursday, and she gets pink eye Tuesday evening. And I'm like, great, now what? So we get the protocol, and what we did was we did the silver psyllin spray, and we got the black tea bags, right? And I had some of the kefir. So I boiled the water and got the tea bags so that they were soaking, and when you get them cool enough, I mean not cool, but warm enough that you can tolerate it on your skin, and you spray your eyes and then lay down and put the tea bags literally on your eyes, and then put like a washcloth over it. Now the thing about it is that pink eye is really wicked bacteria, so you've got to make sure you take a new washcloth next time, because it'll just treat them both, because you're going to pass it back and forth. But the silver psyllin and then the black tea is fantastic for helping to kill whatever's in the eye, the bacteria. And literally by Thursday, my daughter's eyes were clear. She was able to get her pictures taken for school. Now you have to stay on it. I mean, it's one of those things you have to stay on it to get rid of that. But it works fantastic. And then what do they normally give you for pink eye? You guys know? They usually give you an antibiotic or some sort of a steroid drop, right, for the eyes. So we were able to avoid all of that and then also avoid the harm from the side effects of that, right? And we were able to do something natural and get over it, and our body's healthier for it. So this is a really good protocol to have and have around. Anybody recognize this? Who recognizes this? This product right here is crazy. It's got methylparabens, propylene glycol, sodium lauryl sulfate. It's got about 6 or 8 of the most top toxic things that you could have that is on the toxic ingredients list that we have. And this stuff, you actually put it in your body. I mean, hello, right? And so the whole point is for dryness, but what you're doing is literally absorbing this stuff into your body, and this stuff can cause liver failure, like liver failure, right? But instead, use something that's natural, coconut oil. It's a nice natural thing. Go through that. Now, the other thing, I actually got this from, Kristen told me about this, and it's so powerful. There's so many, you guys know how many women are having problems with their cycles, right? Their menstrual cycles. When somebody asked me, somebody actually texted me a question about that, menstrual cramps. Sometimes it's the fact that the tampons you're using or the feminine products that you're using have GMO cotton, and they're sprayed with all kinds of chemicals, right? And so when you use that type of a product, you're putting that in your body. And so that's a major area of toxicity and causing a lot of feminine dysfunction, right? And so there are other products out there. Lola is one. I think there's 2 or 3 other companies out that I've heard of from you guys. Like, you guys have been telling me about it. So you want to go the extra mile and make sure that you're getting feminine products that don't have GMOs in them, and they're all natural, okay? This one makes me really mad. Diflucan. So it's the one pill, right? You take it one day. Isn't that what it is? Take it for one day for yeast infection, right? So the 3 things that it says that the drug can cause. The first one says liver failure, right? The second one says, this is just for one day, I think. You take it one day. The second one is a skin rash that can lead to death. There's a second thing on there. And then the third thing, what did it say? So liver, as something that led to death again. And I just looked at that and I just thought, what? So we're trying to do something so simple that can make our life convenient, a quick pill, but we don't, the doctor doesn't tell you, well, like, you could get a skin rash and you could die from it. You know, like, hello, I'll take the yeast infection, right? So here's a natural thing that you can do. You can actually make a paste out of probiotic. Mix it with water and you can insert that vaginally. And do that every day for a period of about, whatever, how many days, 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 2 weeks, right? And what that does, because it's just an overgrowth of bacteria, what that does is it puts a lot of good probiotics in there. So then the good guys are gobbling up the bad guys, and it becomes a balance in the vagina after that, okay? So probiotic, and again, if you have a yeast infection, you probably don't want to eat sugar, right? Because sugar is just going to make more yeast, right? Yeast love sugar. They love it. And we don't want to feed that and make it happy. We want to starve it, right? So advanced plan diet, which would be our healing diet, right? And then getting adjusted for the yeast protocol. Now, libido protocol, I'll just let you guys follow the instructions on the bottle, on that one, okay? Male, female, just follow the directions on the bottle, but nice, organic, homeopathic protocol that you can follow. And it doesn't give you, in fact, I think what a lot of times the guys are doing, what I'm seeing is these low T clinics are popping up everywhere. And this is one of the reasons why. So they go to the low T clinics, and then what I'm seeing is these guys are getting very aggressive. They're getting having a lot of anger issues and getting very aggressive and really mean. And so the very thing that you took to try to help, now you're the guys are now being very nice, like things are not going to work out, you know, when you're mean, okay? Either way, right? That's right, shoot. But here's what I was hearing more of. So anyway, I totally agree with you either way. So anyway, fantastic product. And then bloating, another thing for bloating. Now, what would be the first thing that we would want to do for bloating? Everybody? Which eating plan? The advanced healing plan, right? So for bloating, because if we did this, then we didn't have the foods that was creating a lot of that issue, then most of the time that would actually be the first thing that do to help us. However, if you have been a person that's been eating bad for a long time, and let's just say you're also taking a medication, the medication will mess with your digestive enzymes. Now, you make digestive enzymes. With your food, your body makes digestive enzymes. You make them, but many of you are using them up before you leave the house in the morning. Okay, and then you're expecting your body to have them for your food the rest of the day. You blow through your digestive enzymes when you take medications and you eat things that are bad for you. You blow through them, and you also don't have the goods, the good food, to be able to make your own. So sometimes for a period of time, you might need a little help when you eat, before you eat, and after you eat, right? That's what those will be all for. The Digest-Zyme when you eat, Max GI before you eat, and Pure Zyme about an hour after you eat, especially for the people who get a lot of like heartburn and that kind of stuff. That's what the Pure Zyme is really good for. This was the hives protocol. Someone texted that question about hives. if you have hives and you're going to Vegas, there'd be a couple things I would make sure you do. Get adjusted before you go, a couple of extra adjustments before you go. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water, and take your detox system. This product here, I would take your detox system and you might double or triple up while you're in Vegas, okay? And then I'd also make sure you have the loving energy. The loving energy is the thing that I've seen people with hives or breaking out with welts all over your body, you know. That is really a fantastic product for allergies as well. And so what you do with that is you just take the droppers full, you put it in a little bit of water, and you just chase it. And take it about 3 to 5 times a day. It'll calm your histamine levels down. That was a patient I told you earlier that she texted me, what do? I have hives everywhere. And she literally, you know, it was like 24 hours later, and she said, my hives are all gone. And all she did was the loving energy. So she's a patient who gets adjusted all the time. She eats really good. And so she must have breathed something in. It's possible, you know, that she breathed something in that was toxic, and her body was trying to get rid of it through having hives, right? But when you go to Vegas, you're going to breathe in a lot of smoke, right, while you're there. There's going to be a lot of things, and who knows what else that you get exposed to while you're there. So these would be really good things to do to be able to help you with that. If you know you have chronic allergies, then you probably just want to go ahead and get on the loving energy or the liver life, because it's more of a liver. The liver needs some help to be supportive to be able to dump off toxins. So that would be something that I would do. Skin rash protocols kind of goes along with what we were just talking about with the skin issue. These are some of the other things you can get. Picking up the silver psyllium spray. You see a theme. There's coconut oil and silver psyllium. Those are things that are used for both of those. Olive oil, lavender, frankincense. These are all the Young Living essential oils. And then bathing in Epsom salts. These are all a lot of similar things that you can see. You get them in your, what did we call it again? Haven, did you say? What's the cabinet called? The healing cabinet. Okay. Sore throat. Who's seen that before? You seen that before? Your typical thing that you're going to do is you're going to run out and you're going to get what? Cough drops, but mostly antibiotics, right? You're going to get an antibiotic. That's usually what people, that's the, you know, the standard protocol. But I personally have been over strep throat. My son's personally been over strep throat. We've just done this protocol. We got adjusted a lot of extra times. And one of the things I want to tell you guys too is when you start expressing symptoms, for those of you especially who are patients in the office, the thing that you want to do is you want to call the office and say, I am expressing symptoms today, and we will get you in and get you adjusted and get you out so that you don't have to feel like you got to be around everybody, and then everybody is good, right? But you want to make sure you get adjusted more when you're not doing well. It helps your nerve system to come online, get the immune system coming online, so your body can actually do what it should do on its own, right? So the spray, the gargling, the apple cider vinegar, the silver psyllium, these are all things. The mega dosage protocol, very important to do that, you know, whenever you have something like this happen. That's the vitamin D protocol that we talked about. I actually have a couple cases this week of spider bites. Very good thing. Have this stuff around if you guys ever get bit by a spider, which, you know, probably all of us will at some point. Having the Thieves Spray from Young Living and purification oil. A spider bite could take 3 weeks to heal. Just know that. It depends on the kind of spider bite. So you just got to give your body some time to heal, get adjusted, and go through this process. Going back to the headache protocol, we get adjusted, right? That would be the first thing we would do. And then peppermint oil is fantastic. You can put that on your temples, put it on your nostrils, and you might want to mix it with some coconut oil if it's too strong, and rub it along your spine as well. Peppermint oil is really powerful for that. And then we also would recommend maybe sometimes a hot or a cold pack just to give you some relief that way, okay? The oil diffuser, did you guys see the diffuser in the back? You can put essential oils in the diffuser and have that just, you know, going in your, like by your bed at home. That's also really good. The cramps, restless leg. If the restless leg is because of a medication side effect, which just this week I looked up some side effects for some patients, and they're on a medication for 15 years. They've had restless leg for 15 years, and the medication was causing it. So one of the things that you can do for that is you can actually make sure that you have your magnesium, your mineral count is where it needs to be, okay? Magnesium is one of the easiest things you can do. One of the most common things that we see people, they go to the hospital for, and they have maybe heart pain or angina or something like that. The number one reason why they have those symptoms is because of magnesium deficiencies, right? So that's a really easy thing that you can be doing at home to make sure you got your minerals where they need to be. And you know by how, that you're getting the right amount that you need, because if you get too much, it'll create diarrhea. So if you take 2 teaspoons, just back up to 1.5. And your bowels will move really well. So it's good to get your bowels moving. It's good to calm your legs down. It's good to help you sleep. It's good for any angina or muscle cramps types of situations. Magnesium is the easiest thing you can do, okay? Muscle spasm, it even has a cream. That magnesium, they actually have a cream as well, so you can rub it on your muscles as well. And then the Relax is just another herbal, natural thing that you can do for muscle relaxers. Toothpaste, this is so cool. So I don't know if you guys have checked your toothpaste, but there's some crazy things in not natural, but in conventional toothpaste. Triclosan, sodium lauryl sulfate, DEA. You can actually make your own toothpaste, right? So you can actually do that by a couple of very common ingredients again, right? Baking soda, coconut oil, and some of your favorite essential oils. And again, you can have these little containers around your house. You got your toothpaste container, you got your peppermint oil container. You got little containers, which is just essential oils mixed with coconut oil, right? And so this is a really good thing. I actually had a patient come in, and she was telling me that her friend said her teeth were really black, turning black, almost kind of like drinking a lot of coffee, and they were stained. And she did this, and literally within a week, she noticed a dramatic difference in the look of her teeth. They were much whiter, okay? So it's a really, really good protocol. And again, the oil pulling, that's another really cool thing and an awesome thing you can do for good, healthy teeth as well. You just take the coconut oil, and you about a tablespoon of it, and about 2 or 3 times a week, you just swish it around in your mouth for about 10 to 20 minutes, like maybe while you're in the shower. Just don't spit it down the sink, because it'll actually, depending on the temperature, it'll be hard and clog up your pipes. So do that. And then arnica, I had some serious dental work done over the past year, and 8 hours worth of surgeries with no anesthetic. I don't recommend that for anybody. But arnica is what I used, and it actually worked, believe it or not. So they sell that. I think Sprouts actually carries arnica, but it's another homeopathic that you can use to help deal with pain, okay? And the teething protocol, for those of you who have little ones at home and you're like, oh my gosh, the teeth are coming in, right? Teething protocol is fantastic. You just get those little rags, the smaller rags, and you boil them. You put the water and the apple juice and the cloves in there, and then you freeze them, and they like to chew on them. So the icy kind of cools the gums, and the clove numbs it, and the texture of the washcloth actually helps to break the tooth loose. And I don't ever go without adjusting my kids when they have teeth issues too. So a lot of times you'll see with teething issues, they'll come in, they'll be pulling on their ear, or their ear hurts, and really the ear is just a referred pain because they're getting teeth. So we just get them adjusted and take them through that protocol, okay? I don't know why it's doing that. Lymphatic congestion protocol. Your lymphatic system is a very important system that mobilizes toxins. It's actually, the nerve supply comes from your neck. What I've seen in a lot of thermographies that I do is that people have congested lymphatic systems. Now, when I say lymphatic, what disease do you think? Lymphoma, right? Lymphoma. That's usually people think of when you say lymphatic, you usually think of lymphomas, right? There's a lot of different kinds of cancers related to lymphatic system. And what that's talking about is really your lymphatic system is not able to mobilize toxins the way that it needs to. Number one, because it doesn't have a clear nerve supply, right? That's the most critical piece, right? Number 2, maybe we're not exercising, right? Rebounding or exercising. We're not sweating, many of us, right? Maybe we need to get in the sauna so we can start sweating. We have a couple other products, like the SEACT and the chronic lymph drops that help with your lymphatic to get it going. But you don't want to take your lymphatic system lightly. Like, you don't want to just ignore that. If your thermography test comes back and it says your lymphatic system's congested, then you got to take it seriously. Because there are diseases and disorders associated with that you don't want. You want to make sure that you're mobilizing your lymphatic system, and it will move. You just have to get a little help. Sometimes you need to get in the sauna. Sometimes you need to, like I said, you need to exercise more, make sure you're sweating. Rebounding is really good because the up and down movement helps to mobilize those lymphatic tissues, okay? So lymphatic congestion, very, very important. Ear infections, ear infection protocol. My husband gives this one out a lot. So the apple cider vinegar and rubbing alcohol. Get yourself these little droppers and just kind of mix this stuff together. And then 1 to 3 droppers in each ear. And you can kind of do it if your kids kind of have this issue when they swim as a preventative because it wouldn't hurt at all. And then have some garlic oil drops and silver and psyllium spray. These are all really good for ear issues. You really, for the most part, if you get adjusted and you follow these protocols, we really don't see kids have issues with ear infections that don't get over it naturally without having to take a bunch of medications, okay? The body will heal. Poison ivy. Ooh, who's had poison ivy in here? That's just miserable, right? Poison ivy. So these essential oils with some, put into a compress and put them on where the poison ivy is, as well as some colloidal oatmeal baths, really, really good, and time and adjustments. That's what you got to do. You got to let it go through its course. I think we hit this, right, with a calm, with minerals and making sure your bowels are moving, constipation, right? We hit this. Everybody knows this. Don't get constipated, okay? That's big, big deal. Don't get constipated. If you eat 3 meals a day, then you should have 3 bowel movements, right? If you don't have 3 bowel movements, you're probably constipated. Some of you would say, man, if I could go once every 3 days, I'd be happy, right? But don't get constipated. If you get constipated, that just backs up in your system, and then we create all kinds of other issues. So make sure your bowels are moving. If you're having trouble in the area, you need to come and talk to me, because we need to find out what is the cause and get to the root of that. That's a really big deal, okay? Maybe the cause is that you need your spine adjusted more often, right? There's nerves in your neck that go to your colon, nerves in your mid-back, and nerves in your low back that go to your colon. So all those areas need to be clear so that you're digesting food properly and your bowels are moving the way that they need to, okay? Lice. Dr. Joel, I think, was just telling me about this, how awesome this protocol works. It's miserable, again, another one of those miserable things. So lice protocol, just going through with these essential oils with the whole cap and the apple cider vinegar, and make sure you're cleaning up your house. So another really, really good protocol. Anemia. I have people who, what do you think of when I say anemia? What vitamin do you usually think of? Iron, right? I have a lot of patients who cannot take iron. And so what we have them do is we have them eat foods that have and help with a lot of iron, right? So beets. My sister, I remember calling me and telling me that the doctor said that she needed to go to the ER because they tested her and her iron was so dangerously low. And so I had her literally do this, and she called me in a couple of days, and it was a dramatic difference. So just eating foods, like the Greens First product, the eating liver and juicing beets, this is a very powerful thing that you can do to make sure you get your anemia, your iron under control. Cold sore protocol. Remember I was telling you guys about the vitamin D, the mega dosage protocol? So I had a patient, her mom got her vitamin D tested, and she actually already took a good amount of vitamin D. And the doctor saw her labs, and they were in 80. And her medical doctor said, you got to stop vitamin D. Stop taking it. You're toxic. So she stops taking vitamin D, and within about 2 weeks, she broke out with this massive cold sore, and it was not just on her lips, it was all across the whole side of her face. Now think about it. She wasn't manifesting or expressing a cold sore because her vitamin D levels were exactly where they needed to be, right? And the doctor, who didn't take all this type of learning that you did, didn't know any better, and so he basically told her to get off of it. So we told her to go back on, right? That vitamin D megadosage is very important. L-lysine, very important. And of course, the other areas that you need to make sure you take care of for cold sores. So you'll see that megadosage protocol will come in handy in a lot of different places. Low energy. Give me that coffee, right? Adrenal energy is a product that we carry. If you have energy challenges, you might have crashed or trashed your own adrenal gland. And so probably caffeine is probably the last thing you want to be doing. But the adrenal energy is very helpful to take in the morning, and take it right about 1 o'clock so that you can get it in just before your 2 o'clock kind of crash. You know, where you just feel like, oh, I can't make it through the day. 2 o'clock is usually when that next dip, your cortisol dip is. And so this is a really good, adrenal energy is very helpful to help your adrenal gland have what it needs to have so that it can actually function the way that it needs to, okay? Of course, getting the grains out, and then correcting the sleep issues. Some of you, I don't know if you guys know this, Dr. Davis talked about this before, your best sleep is between 10 and 2, right? So if you're going to bed at 1 a.m., then you probably missed the best sleep, right? So you might be doing this to yourself. So some of you just kind of need to correct your sleep, and that might help itself, right? So that's the sleep, low energy issue. Sleeping is the same. So if you're having a hard time going to sleep, some of you, it's the medication that you're on, right? It's a side effect of the medication. I have seen that. I look that up every day. So I've seen that a lot. Some of you need to be exercising more, and you need to maybe go to bed at a better time, right? Sleeping better. But sleep and mood, adrenal calm, and magnesium and glycine are also really good for helping to calm your brain down. Glycine's really good to get any toxins that are in your brain out and just calm the brain down, so it's very, very good for sleeping. Remember I talked to you about the containers? This is another really good container. If hemorrhoid is an issue, right, you'd keep that container in the bathroom, just pre-mix it with coconut oil and put these essential oils in it. Works fantastic, okay? This is a really, really natural thing to do. Rather than some of the stuff that they have out there, if you look at the other ingredients on the back side of some of those creams that they use for hemorrhoids, they're not good, guys. They're not good. So you'll want to do things that are a little bit more natural. If you are a person that works in fumes, you paint, maybe you like to remodel homes, or maybe you're in a project right now, you're remodeling your own home, right? Drywall, paint fumes, things like that. Maybe you have mold, right? If you have mold, I had mold in my car, actually. I had an older 2007, and my car had a whole bunch of mold in it, and I didn't know it. And so what I did was I used this ozonator, and I just put it in my car, and the ozonator actually kills spores. It's just a little machine. It's a few $100s if you know this is you and you kind of would need this a lot. It's a good investment. But that ozonator, that little machine, it puts out ozone, and the ozone actually kills the spores. And so when you kill the spores, you actually are able to kill the mold. And so this is another really good tool. Of course, the detox system and the G cell is another really important thing. If you have mold, like we do blood testing for that, because that's can be very serious. But these are just some things to kind of get you started. The sinus protocol, this is really cool. So you can see the sinus thing on the left and the sinusitis on the inflamed sinuses on the right-hand side. You can take the neti pot, or you can also take the nasal spray and just add a little oregano to it. And it's almost like you're kind of like snorting a pizza, a little oregano. But, right, it might burn a little bit. But very, very effective in being able to help clear out your sinuses. Heartburn protocol. Apple cider vinegar is good for everything, right? Didn't your grandma use it for cleaning windows? My grandma did. Clean windows with it, right? You can, it's helpful for your gut, right? It's helpful for washing off your vegetables. right? Just put it in your sink, a little apple cider vinegar and water. But apple cider vinegar and some digestive enzymes. Again, we hit digestive enzymes a little bit ago. And obviously clear out the food that you're eating that's creating that. Fever is good. Fever is good. Everybody say this. Fever is good. Right? Fever is just your body's ability to be able to turn the heat up to try to burn off whatever it is that your body's trying to fight off, right? So let's use it to our benefit. We make sure we get adjusted when we have a fever. We make sure we actually are putting good foods in our body when we have a fever. But we don't get scared of a fever, right? We want to actually let our body get stronger and use the fever to our advantage. Anxiety. This magnesium is so good for so many things. It's calming. That's why they call it calm. It's very calming, right? So for anxiety, remove the sugars, calm, increase your good fats, because your brain is made up of mostly what? Fat. So you want to make sure you increase your good fats. Don't be buying foods that say low fat, no fat, right? You want to buy foods that have the full fat in them, okay? Hot flashes, again, this diffuser are really good. Usually hot flashes are a mineral issue. Make sure your minerals are good, okay? And then these essential oils and making sure you're getting adjusted. That's very, very important. Now this Young Living, how many of you have the Young Living essential oils? Okay. So what they have is they have this little startup pack that has all these little oils in it. And it's just like a little startup pack that you can use and kind of try some different ones. And on the back table, we had a couple of little handouts on the back table. I had them here a second ago, but it has the different parts of your body and what each oil is actually good for. So that's a really, just a nice little startup packet there. I have so many oils at home. I actually put like lemon in my water because it's a natural detoxer. But this little startup pack is just a good way to actually use it, and you can actually get the little diffuser with it as well, and you can kind of have that diffuser going in your kitchen or by your bed when you go to bed at night. Okay, so everybody give our wonderful guests a round of applause here. Come on up here. Okay, so you guys already heard from Donna, but you didn't hear the whole story.
That's right.
I got to give you a little bit more. Okay, so you told us how you found our office, right?
Yes.
And you were kicking and screaming like you were kind of resistant, right? And
very, yes.
One of the things that I would love for them to know is the one medication that you felt like you would never ever get off of.
After the sinus surgery, it debilitated me with headaches, but it also made my sinuses worse. And I was completely dependent upon a very high-powered steroid. I would have to put this very expensive, it cost $500 a month for the steroid. It was a liquid steroid that asthmatics use, and I had to open a vial and put it up my nose every single day, twice a day, or I could not breathe. Had horrible pain in my sinuses, and I could not get off of it. I tried, and I could not. I had horrible pain. And so I thought I was going to have to live like that for the rest of my life. I did eat the diet, and it did decrease. As soon as I changed my diet and I stopped eating sugar, I remember my first meeting with Dr. Kimberly. I thought I was eating such a great diet, and I walked in there just very proud because I thought she wasn't going to have anything to say about my diet. And she told me, do you realize you're eating like 70% sugar? And I thought, wow, I can't believe that. And so I changed my diet, and I noticed a decrease in my amount that I had to use, but I never could get off of it until I did the metabolics test. And 6 months after that, I was scared to go off the steroid because every time I tried, I would get so sick. And lots of pain and cough. My cough was horrendous. My sinuses were killing me. But 6 months into the metabolics, she set me up with the oils and everything, and I was able to get off of that very expensive steroid for the first time since the surgery, so I was so glad about that.
Round of applause for that right there.
Oh, it was awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think what the important thing that I think that would be good for them to know is that you learn to trust what? After going through the metabolics, you learn to trust your body, right? Just learning. A lot of times, because you said you were so afraid, right?
I was afraid because every time I tried, I would get so sick and I would cough and have a setback, and so I trusted that everything that I was doing was right, and I went ahead and I got off of it, and it worked, and I had no problems with it at all. Because the metabolics testing, it told me so many things that I was deficient in. It gave me the exact right combination of supplements, and I was able to get off of that. And I don't take anything, Advil, nothing. I have not been on a steroid since, and that's a miracle.
Right? Awesome,
after that
right?
surgery, so it was wonderful.
So the other thing I want, you got people sitting in here who are thinking, like, I'm not making that appointment. They're probably stubborn like you,
yes.
right? What would you, and maybe they're even stubborn about telling their friends.
Right.
What would you say?
I would just say, go in for the appointment. What do you have to lose? My health was so terrible, and I was willing to try anything. And it's who do you put your trust in? And I put my trust in Dr. Erb and Dr. Kimberly, and both Dr. Dave and Dr. Kimberly, and I trusted the test, and it worked beautifully for me, and I was able to get off of everything. I would just tell them to try it.
And your daughters, tell them about your daughter. Your daughters.
My daughters are very healthy. Yeah, Taylor is never sick. She's in college, and she even had a huge panel of mold in her dorm, and she never got sick from that or anything. She's never got the flu. She's never sick, and they're both very healthy, not on any kind of medications, which is not normal at this day and time, not to be a child and be on medication. And so they're very, very healthy. So even despite they do eat some sugar, but they're kids. So,
that's right.
But they're still healthy.
Role model right here,
yeah,
don't they?
They're healthy, and we all work out together with Dorota, and so it's great.
Awesome. We love you. Thank you.
Love you.
Give her a round of applause. Is that amazing? Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, so the Dagadoo family here, I have so many questions for you guys, but let me just start with, how did you first hear about our office?
Okay, well, mine is more of like a little story to tell it, so if you would bear with me.
Yeah, sure. You want to? Go.
Okay, so 8 years ago, our son was diagnosed with some type of an autoimmune disorder, and he was told that he would have to take medication for the rest of his life, and I chose not to accept that. I said, no, we are going to pray for him, and he will be just fine. So I called my sister, who is a nurse, and she lived in Orlando at the time, and she was seeing a chiropractor, and she said, let me talk to the chiropractor, and I'll get back to you. So it so happened that several weeks before, she was going to Dr. Rich Lerner, who is the brother of Dr. Ben Lerner, the co-founder of Maximize Living. So she spoke with him, and she got back to me, and she said, well, the doctor said chiropractic care can help him. And he had recently returned from a conference, a chiropractic conference, where they discussed the correlation between chiropractic care and autoimmune disorders. So, of course, I got excited. He also gave her a couple of names of doctors in the Dallas area and said, give this to your sister. She might be interested in giving them a call. So Thursday morning, I picked up the phone, and I called Dr. David, prayed about it, and I called Dr. David's office. Well, I didn't expect to get anyone because Thursdays normally the office is closed. But lo and behold, and I know it's a God thing, Dr. Kimberly answered the phone. And I told her what was going on. She said, yeah, sure, bring him in tomorrow, first thing in the morning. So Friday morning, we took him in, and Dr. David spoke with him, adjusted him, and he said, I want to see him 2 more times today. We took him back 2 more times, and shall I just say the rest is history. He's doing just fine. So I'm going to double back around and say, during that time, my niece, who was graduating from high school, she wasn't sure what she wanted to do after school, but when she saw the benefits of chiropractic and what it could do for you, she got really excited. She said, that's what I want to do. So next week, my husband and I have the privilege of attending her graduation from Life Chiropractic University in Marietta, Georgia, where she's going to be a maximized living chiropractic doctor. Yes. So we're very proud of her. Yes. So, what the devil meant for evil turned out really well. And so I just want to encourage you to share your story. Your testimony is the best testimony. Your testimony about yourself is the best that you have. So share your story and encourage others to come to the clinic and let them know the benefits and the results that you're getting. We are so blessed, and, proud and happy to have doctors David and Kimberly in our midst. We really are. And you know, I just wanted to wrap up by saying they're really the best. When you think about it, they're the absolute best. And we pray that God will continue to use them to heal people both physically and spiritually, not only in Dallas or in the USA, but around the world.
Amen.
So we thank you, we love you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
And
I
thank
received
you.
that. Amen. Oh.
I would just say amen to that.
All right, amen. Thank you so much. Oh, that's fantastic. You guys are amazing. Another round of applause, right? Is that amazing or what?
Guys, listen, 21 days, you can do it. Just take the time, take the actions. I guarantee you, you walk it out, take those small side steps towards him, and he'll take some great God-sized steps to you. So if you would, let's just bow our heads and we'll pray. Father, thank you for being today here with us. Ask that you bless the minutes that were at hand, that you just expand those in the results in our lives, and ask God that you are glorified by all the results that come from all of us being here today. And those people who weren't here today, who are hurting or they're praying to you for an answer, that you would find your way towards them, Father, with this information and life and freedom and health. And we just pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right, guys. Thanks for being here today. Excellent.